Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below this video. Also below this video, you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy. Speaking of Patreon, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So a massive shout out of thanks and appreciation to Michael Kahn, Patrick Gunnels, Banter, Will Brax, Melby Styles, Troy Shuker, Bosnail, Joseph Pizarro, Samson, Maris, Mobile Max 777, Neo the One, Lost Cat FE, Rob W, Open Minded, Reese Pound, Del West Watson, Mike, Muted, Dick Earth Skeptic, Maria Nealand, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, Rob H, The Real Gabster, Windrider, Liam Nedrick Jr., Abraham Mohammed, Naibai, Adrian Quintana, Skeptic936, Life is Short, Fireball X, TheFlatEarthChannel.com, Texas Mike, Edwin Johnson, and David Wayne Foster. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Now I'll hand over to whoever is in Discord and Google so you can enjoy their conversation while I set up for today's live show.
You're not gonna spoke me no more.
I'm not gonna pull the wool over your eyes. And Nathan, I got something in Masturbate for our carbon dating conversation the other day.
Okay.
Just for a laugh.
Very good. That's excellent.
When I saw it, I had to do it. I saw, okay, this keeper.
Yeah, QE put a video up and everybody mirrored it, which is good. But my reason for mirroring it might not be the same as everybody else's. And on QE's show last night, he was explaining it really well, which is to say that the whole thing is connected. You know, the whole heliocentric paradigm and evolution paradigm are intrinsically linked. So
I missed that show. I'll have to listen to it because I do feel that way. What were some of his points?
that was the point.
No, I know, but did he go further into it?
I'd like to say yes, but unfortunately Adam Meakin was there at the beginning part of the show, so much of what was discussed was food related.
No. There was a guy that came on at the end. Asked your father any questions, something like what? That was his name. He summed the whole thing up very well.
Okay, I don't think I caught the very end. Maybe you can. I was monitoring my own show by that point. So tell me what that, because I didn't catch that.
Well, just what you said. He summed the whole thing up. That's the first time I heard of him. He was saying how everything is connected, all back to this heliocentric evolution nonsense that they're pushing, and it's just all linked in together.
You know, the first person to highlight this really early on in me looking into Flat Earth, or making videos about Flat Earth, I should say, Jaron pointed it out. So in his upbringing or his education, which was Jesuit education, he would be under the impression that it would all be about God and, you know, the heavens. Well, it wasn't. It was all heliocentric teachings in the school classes, exactly the same as you get in a comprehensive education. It's like, why would it be the case that these priests are very much teaching heliocentric teachings? It's like, well, because it's one and the same thing. It's part of the same problem. It's linked at the hip. So it makes perfect sense that they're teaching it. It's them that's come up with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, what was Father, what was his name? The guy with Einstein who came up with the Big Bang?
Lemaitre?
I forgot his name.
Lemaitre.
Yeah,
That
that's
you mean?
it.
Yeah, Lemaitre.
Oh, okay, that is who you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, the joint at the hip is an understatement. Here you got them, not even in a quasi way, but in a real connective way, saying everything happened by chance rather than by God, the creator. And so now they're bringing causal power to a word called chance, which is a word for probability. It's not even anything in itself. By chance, I ran into the Nathan Oakley show. Well, what caused it? Well, I was surfing Discord channels and I popped one with an interesting title. Well, you didn't get there by chance. You were surfing Discord channels and you saw an interesting title. That's how you got there. So they're trying to give a causal power to the word chance. Chance doesn't do anything. It describes probability.
Right. Another example would be, was it Reverend John Michel? Cavendish, gravity.
Cavendish, yeah. Well, also early on, I never checked in to see if it was authentic, but no one thought it. No one said otherwise. That 80% of all the observatories with their major telescopes, the Catholic Church owns. What's their interest in that?
Same interest in you. I gotta watch my tongue here. Let's just rethink what I was about to say. Start talking about heaven.
Don't look in the mirror.
They've got a vested interest
I mean,
in that area now, haven't they?
Yeah, they do have an investment in that area.
The sky area, the heavenly area,
Yes.
let's just call it.
Yeah, the sky. Yeah, except the words, if you're going to say you represent Jesus Christ, and his last command is go into all the world, preach the gospel, baptizing them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. I don't see telescopes and observatories in that last command, do you?
I don't know, I hear a lot about firmaments here, I've got to be honest.
Well, firmament is a description of the creation
No, but
story.
I do hear.
I knew that would trigger Neil. See how Fundy muting is irritating.
Well, I knew you said that on purpose, and I knew Neil was going to pipe in, so I jumped in before
No.
Neil.
I was gonna say something before he said firmament. I was gonna say, Nathan, do you know that in the Bible it talks about the prince of the power of the air?
Yes, it does, and that's given to the worldly reign of Satan for whatever time he's got left. But back to the firmament.
I'll answer you. By the power of Grayskull, I did not know that.
Yeah, that's why the big shows can be in the sky.
Yeah, and one more thing, but it also says, if you would ever want to read it, it's in Ephesians chapter 6. The Apostle Paul explains that we're not fighting against things that we could see. The rulers of the darkness of this world.
Don't touch your face.
Spiritual wickedness in high places. High places.
Don't touch your face.
Anyway, back to answer your question about the firmament. It's a description of creation and how God ordered it. That's all it is. It's nothing more than that.
All righty then.
So how can you have gas pressure without containment, Nathan?
Well, that's what I explained to my son when he tells me God could do anything, but he's trying to push it where he's got this solar system and these planets. And I said, yeah, I agree. And it is a marvelous system when you look at it, the way they got it laid out, but it's not how it's written in the Bible. It doesn't say that God did it that way.
Just take a step back.
Reality.
Hold on. How they've got it laid out. Who are they? Who laid it out that way, Neil? We were just talking about it 2 minutes ago.
No, I said that's I guess I don't know.
The connectivity of the whole thing. Come on.
Yeah, I understand that. The powers that be, evolution, and all of that stuff.
Right,
But who are they?
We were just I just mentioned it with Jaron. You're not listening, clearly.
No, I'm going in and out, so I'm not hearing everything you're saying.
Right. So
I
I
must have
detailed
missed
how. Let's just give you the story again so you can put the dots together yourself. Jaron explained or questioned why you'd have the exact same comprehensive level education in terms of solar system and the heliocentric model when you were in a Jesuit-run school. Why would that be, Neil?
Well, you tell me.
Because they came up with it, Neil. Because it's them that developed it. They are the they.
The Catholics? No,
Yeah,
I don't
Neil,
think
that's
it's
right.
I don't think it's just the Catholics. Come on, there was something before Catholicism. They're part of it, but it's not. I
Sorry.
don't know.
Sorry, when
Catholics, I feel like they're a devil. They
Neil,
get
Neil,
blamed for
Neil,
everything.
Neil, Neil,
Don't,
Neil,
Neil, relax.
Neil, when you don't know, it's best not to just jabber on indefinitely. Right? So when we talk about Reverend John Michelle and Cavendish, CV boys, the Reverend bit doesn't stick out to you a bit.
I'm not saying it's not.
I'm saying it is. You're not listening,
I'm
Neil.
saying there's others.
Yeah, Neil, why are you bracing against this and talking through me? I don't get it.
There's got to be a delay because I don't freaking understand what's going on.
Yeah,
I'm talking regular, and
what you're
not
doing,
hearing me.
Neil, you say while I'm trying to tell you something, you're telling me how you don't disagree with it through the top of me. Thank you, very useful that. Do you want to tell me more about what you're not disagreeing with through the top of me telling you?
I'm not hearing you when you said. Now I heard you when you said that. But if I'm talking, I'm not hearing you talk.
Okay. They are the they. They are the they, Neil. So when your son's like, well, in your mind, God can do anything, but in my mind, heliocentrism, show him the connection between the two. That's what I'm trying to say to you.
I know, but I'm saying they're not the only ones. There was
Okay, we got
something
it.
before Catholicism.
Yeah, call the devil. We got it.
Exactly. That's my point.
Okay, we got it already. But here's the deal. Catholicism has
Pissing
the
me off.
same. No, just relax. Relax. The Catholicism and Catholics are two different things. Yeah, I know some dear Catholics. They're good people. They love
Excuse
God.
me, Roman Catholicism.
I knew what you meant.
All right. All right. So in any case, the authority of that system versus the people in the system. Look, I was one of those people in that system. I know many people to this day who are in that system. They're not anything like that system, but because of family ties and other things, they're still in it. Okay. And I'm trying to educate them. Okay. That being said, all of them can go to the book of Genesis and realize the heliocentric model is wrong. And so that's where I take them. That's where I take everybody who claims one foot with God, the other foot with heliocentrism. I just take in the book of Genesis. I said, let's read how God created everything. And when we read it, the sun, the moon, and the stars were made on the fourth day and placed inside something called the firmament. Now, that in itself right there, without any more details as to what that actually means, like inside the dome or inside, like attached to the dome, is the dome moving or are those things separate and they move? Okay, without any of that detail, they go, wow, this is totally different. And I go, yeah, so how can you have outer space? And then the gas pressure without containment is a perfect segue right now, because the firmament can be that containment. And they get it. That's when they just shut up at that point. They go, wow, this is deeper than I thought. I've had them say that to me. So, yeah, definitely not heliocentric if you're going to be biblical.
Yeah, but what do you do when you tell them that and they come with the new definition, well, the latest one of firmament, that it's being just an expanse and it's the air?
No, first of all, no one said that to me. That's the trollers that come here and say that. But I have heard the word expanse, and I'd say, so gas pressure within the expanse then is what you're saying. If firmament is now expanse, then now you're saying gas pressure within the expanse. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what they're saying. But now they're saying that.
Well, that doesn't change. Hang on, that doesn't change anything. You still can't have gas pressure without containment. But they're telling us it's 10 to the minus 17 torr. So how can you have that within that same expanse?
Well, they're saying that the air is, I don't want to say atmosphere. I'm not going to say it. They're saying that the moon is in our air.
Well, then that goes against their whole model, doesn't it? And the more they give up land to us, the more they're coming closer to our argument. and they're just scratching because they're stuck. It's still, the sun, the moon, and stars were made on the fourth day, not according to heliocentric jargon, is it now?
Well, it does get a little. It does get a little like, because in Genesis it talks about the birds being in the firmament.
That's the heavens above us, not the heavens of heavens where God is, or the heavens where the stars are. That's why Paul says there's three heavens.
So are there three firmaments?
No. No, there's one firmament. There's a heaven where God is above the firmament, as declared in the Bible, and then the heaven where the sun, the moon, and the stars are, and then the heaven where the birds are, and then us. The glory of one, he says, the glory of this heaven is this, the glory of the, because they're beautiful to look at. They're beautiful to observe. So
I just want to make a quick recommendation to Neil. So there's a video I did 3 or 4 years ago, maybe a bit longer, called Flat Earth UK with Johnny Cerrucci, and he details the history all the way back to Rome of the heliocentric deception in great detail after a lot of extensive research. So check out that video. Just watch it.
Well, I'd like to hear that. Where is it? I could find it in your stuff.
It's on my channel. It's called Flat Earth UK with Johnny Cerrucci.
Johnny Cerrucci.
Correct.
Sounds like Italian.
Correct.
Yeah.
All right, Paisan.
Yeah, he's a Paisan. Cerrucci, I've heard him prior to hearing him. I haven't even heard your interview with him, but I've heard him talk about what you're saying, Nathan. So, but that's why even Luther and Calvin stood up against Copernicus at that time. They understood what was coming, so they stood up against him.
That's correct.
Hello, Eli.
But here's the deal. I'll just wrap it up. The Earth was made first in the biblical model, but not in the heliocentric model. So it's over right there. If they're going to say they believe in the scripture and yet push this lie of heliocentrism, then they got to decide which one they're going to accept, and that's how you'll know where they are.
Hello, Eli and Sleeping Warrior.
Yes.
Hey.
Hey, good morning.
Hey, Nathan, you need to turn your microphone up a little bit. You are a lot quieter than everybody else.
Just because I'm sat back in my chair while everyone else is chatting, I could just sit up like I would if I was doing my intro, and I'm sure it'd be a lot clearer. Correct?
All right, yeah, it is because you sat in your chair. You're not normally sat back in your chair, right?
Just being lazy.
Okay, that's fine. You can be lazy. Check this out. I was watching a video about a guy. He was part of a group that was skydiving. He went up in his little tiny Cessna jet plane or whatever. It gets to the point where he's ready for jumping out, and basically they aborted because they were in the middle of a massive forming storm cloud that they couldn't. It weren't safe for them to jump, so they decided that they were going to abort, and they'll do it another day. Plane turns around, starts coming down. Something happens, and the plane falls into a flat spin, and basically they all have to jump out anyway. And the plane crash lands in the water, and there's 3 or 4 of these guys, and basically they get strewn across different areas, so obviously they fall out at slightly different times, and they can't see each other. So they're all in the water. The plane's crash landed. The plane's gone down and gone under. Pilot's probably gone down with the plane. But the guys are all within spitting distance of each other, but they couldn't see or hear each other because they were too far away from each other. Anyway, the point I'm getting to is the guy that this video I was watching was focused around. He said the waves weren't even that big. He said, but I could not see beyond the nearest wave. And I thought, isn't that a really good example of perspective? From his perspective, the Earth must be absolutely tiny because the horizon is so close to him that he couldn't even see his friends that he'd just fallen out the plane with. And it was all caused by the waves because he was like literally centimeters off. His eyeballs were centimeters off the big waves. And he said the waves weren't even that big, but his personal horizon was a matter of feet. And he couldn't see which direction the land was in. He couldn't see where his friends were. And I just thought that's a brilliant way to describe it. You're in the water, you can't see above the waves. How big's the Earth? According to the horizon distance on their model or whatever, if the water is the horizon, that makes the Earth like a golf ball. Brilliant example of perspective.
Yeah, very good.
Well, finish the story. What happened to the other 2?
Oh, let's not worry about that.
I don't know.
We've got our perspective example.
He managed to find a random log that happened to be floating by, which kept him buoyant. A bad word to use. But he hung on to that, and he had to sleep the night in the water. Woke up the next morning, he had no idea where he was. And then he got captured by a fishing boat, so he survived. I don't know what happened to the other people because it was focused around him. But yeah, that was the gist of the story, the end of the story. I didn't get to find out from the other guys, unfortunately. He may not have made it.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. I like hearing survival stories.
I just thought it was a really good way to demonstrate relative the perspective argument, because obviously he's not able to see more than the closest wave, and that was bigger than his eyeballs because his eyeballs were centimeters off the water and he couldn't see beyond them. And I thought, well, ballers would call that obstruction. They would call that the curvature of Earth, and actually, it's just the actual the waves in his foreground and nothing more.
Yeah, you could experience that I used to experience that all the time when you go into the beach, go into the deeper waters, and the same thing happens.
I did it myself when Liverpool won the Champions League recently. They came home and had the homecoming before lockdown. I was in amongst a sea of Liverpool fans, and like the only thing you can see is pretty much the back of the guy's head in front of you. So I climbed a lamppost so I could see further, and I realised that I'm not on a sphere when I'm climbing the lamppost. I just realised I could get my elevation up, increase that angle, and I could see more. It had nothing to do with the perceived shape of the ground underneath me. It was just my angle to everybody else, the back of everybody else's head. I couldn't see past anybody, but open up that angle a little bit, and you can see more. Nothing to do with the actual shape of the ground that I thought that I might be walking on.
What you just said, every child experienced growing up when we climb trees. It's only the ballers who say what they say about the ground is curving away from you. Now, as a kid, you never thought that. You just say, you know what, there's too many things in my way. I'll climb up a tree so I could see further. I mean, it's so simple.
It is. It's so simple, but we ballers tell us that that's to do with the shape of the earth, and it's got nothing to do with it.
I want to stay away from them. They got mental illness, man.
They are. They're radical fundamentalists.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
And a lot of their behaviours at trench level are akin to cult-like behaviour. They also project that straight onto us.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Your reference frames are ruined.
Whose reference frames?
Yeah, you describe their argument better than they
Guess
can
what I
even
got in my
begin
hands
to.
right at the moment.
You describe their argument better than they could even, and then they think it's your argument. They're so dumb, they don't even know their own argument.
Arwin actually argues their side better than they argue it.
Yeah.
Well, Baldwin.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
To the point of annoyance.
Yes.
No. You got to remember where his source material's coming from, right? So yes, he does need reining in once in a while because he'll copy the tactics as well as the arguments, and we can do without the tactics. But that's going to leak in, and he's, to his credit, when he gets told that, he does rein it right back in. It's not like he'll just persist and say, no, I am going to Fundy mute the crap out of this conclusion when it's a conclusion coming from someone on my own side. I'm here as a useful tool to make the example, but I'm going to ruin the example's conclusion. Now, if he does do that, I tell him and he stops. But that's purely because of the material and where he's getting it from in the first place. That's what they do.
Nathan, you're such a hypocrite saying about their tactics, because you've got tactics. You've got your mute button.
Everybody's got a mute button who runs a show. I could manually go in and mute anybody. I very rarely do.
I've heard you, Nathan. You mute everybody that disagrees with you.
That's not true.
That's what they say.
Yeah, that's what they say. And then every person that comes here gets to make their argument. And then when I try and challenge it, they immediately start interrupting me. And then they say that I mute them. Yeah, I know what they say. So what?
We feel your pain, globe earthers.
Yeah, that's it. We can chuckle about it because we know that it's a tactic. That said, I explained this to my wife the other night because of Miles Davis. Because somebody, I can't remember who, explained that he was on a show explaining that I'd cause pain and depression because of his arguments with us about the nature of our reality. Now, I don't experience any of that at all. Not whatsoever. I don't go to sleep thinking about the nature of reality. I appreciate it for what it is. I went out to a nature reserve today with my kids, experienced the beauty that is the world around me. It was lovely. But beyond that, it doesn't concern me in any way anymore. Not at all. Now, don't get me wrong, I can understand and empathise with those of us out there that go, oh my God, we must be being lied to on massive scales then. Yeah, that's also true, but you don't need to necessarily concern yourself about it. You don't need to worry.
Well, everyone who lives in this world has been lied to in the massive scale on many topics, but they still live in this world.
Yeah. And realising the lie doesn't mean that they're going to, A, have to do anything about it, B, that it's going to in any way change the life around them. But they can be more mindful of the fact that on many levels you're being deceived for various different reasons. It might lead you to be intrigued about why you're being deceived. It might just leave you, as I say, being more mindful about things that people tell you. Now, that isn't necessarily a dramatic change to your life. Not necessarily. Unless it affects you in the way that the trenchers who come here are affected. Then they are affected by it in a very negative way, to the point where they'll have depression. Now, we know, we've heard it time and time again. Contrasting that, we've got people on our own side who tell us about the antithesis of that, the release, the relief that they get, the joy, the pleasure from realising the nature of their reality wasn't necessarily what they were told, but that means that they've got a world of possibility. The world is far more wondrous a place when you don't know, but for some, that's incredibly stressful, just not for the majority of flat earthers. That's just the reality of it, and they project that pain straight onto us.
When did you coin the phrase from the start of your channel and understand what you just said, where you said share your pain? When did that become part of the
hearing it in their
show?
voices when they're getting pummeled? You know, the
Right, but
nervous
how long did it
laughter,
take?
the type of tactics that are employed, the lack of humility, all of those things are based on a pride that they can't get rid of and a pain that's come from it. And it was verbal. You could hear it in their voices when they crack slightly. You could hear it.
No, I know. But when did it
Is it not
happen?
in
Like,
the conspiracy cats?
It might have been more honed after a couple of examples. Conspiracy Cats was not the first, but certainly one that I've referenced recently and frequently, which is to say him describing that pain.
So early on, you'd say, in the channel's life.
Early on in the debates, I would say that it was pretty obvious that the people that we're dealing with are actually in pain over what they're experiencing, and the way that they relinquish some of that pain is to project it onto us and call us idiots.
Right. Well, I liken your show to a big funnel that narrows down to a very narrow spout, like the type you would put into your gas tank when you want to use your own 5-gallon container of gas from home to fill. So the show opens up with this wide area and they come in, but it narrows down into this very narrow space where no fallacies are allowed. You better have something. You're going to be challenged. And it's like, you welcome everyone in. Hey, how you doing? What's your name? Okay, are you a baller? Are you a flat earther? It's very nice. And then all of a sudden they come up with a big fallacy. So now it's in that narrow section and they got nowhere to go. And they want to feel like they're in the wide area. But no, you're now in the narrow area. Where's your citation? You made a claim, prove it. And this is what destroys them all the time.
Yeah, and eventually they reach the spout and get spat out.
Yeah, exactly.
If people are feeling pain from what you say and they're projecting it onto yourself, then surely it should be on them, not on you. Because at the end of the day, you're telling them the truth. If they can't accept it and they're projecting their feelings onto you, that's down to them, not you.
Correct. Couldn't have said it better
Hence the
myself.
saying, feel your pain.
Yeah. Hence, share your pain. It's like telling me that I'm an idiot and I don't get it when I've pummeled your argument into the point of non-existence, where it's no longer even worth considering the 50 repetitions that you're going to try and throw my way. Those 50 repetitions are them expressing their pain. Share it with us.
Let me just quantify that, Nathan.
Educated.
Imagine being a physics teacher at high school teaching kids that gravity is a force when it's not a force. It's not defined as a force. It's explained and documented and defined by Einstein to be an effect. That's like saying that black is white because the national curriculum says so. That's going to give you cognitive pain if you're a teacher. And let's remember that teaching particularly high school kids, is defined and perceived to be one of the most trustworthy, reputable professions that you can have. If you're teaching your kids something that you know is wrong, that is going to cause you some fundamental problems, because psychologically there's an issue there, isn't there, that you know that it's fundamentally wrong. And is it okay to say, well, I was only doing my job? Well, that's what the Nuremberg trials were about. They said that I was just following orders. But at the end of the day, if you're doing your job and you're teaching children lies, falsehoods, not truths, and you know that they're not true, then that is going to cause you cognitive pain.
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Also, below this video, you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. One last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Eli, Sleeping Warrior, Neil, 10th Man, did I miss anybody? Adam Meakin, and a whole bunch of people in Discord. So welcome one and all.
Afternoon, guys. Morning.
Hey, good morning.
Afternoon, Nathan.
Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you may be. Good to have you all.
Hello.
Hello, Arwin. Good to have you also. Did you have a good show? I didn't catch it today.
Yeah, it was interesting. We got a wave of trolls in, and I really went at them. So, yeah, a bit of a troll bashing fest at the end.
Oh, was
But it
good
was
fun?
a lot of fun.
Excellent. Good to hear it. Glad it doesn't put a dampener on your day like it does for the ball side of this argument.
Is that the correct collective noun for trolls? A wave of them, Arwin?
It's a bolus
We'll
of
have to have that
wankers.
philosophical question after housekeeping, I reckon.
Well, they do seem very fluid,
Indeed, they do.
and yeah, they come and go in waves, and I don't know. They're also very passive, just responsive, right? Just like fluids, just respond to the environment.
I find their arguments a bit choppy, though, Arwen.
Boom, boom. Let's do a bit of housekeeping.
It's
Everyone
just
ready?
recycled old shit.
Everyone ready in Discord? You're poised, keen,
Ready and waiting.
excellent. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
No evidence for the
Evidence.
distance to the sun.
It's 3 AUs.
They need an R value to get it, and they don't have that.
The school books say 93 million miles away.
Need an answer.
Consensus.
Consensus
lie.
says 90. Hold on. Most of the people in the world agree with this 93 million mile sun.
Yeah, as we were talking about in the pre-show, I actually saw a comment from Conspiracy Cats who used that argument from consensus nonsense as a defence. As long as the majority of the world are behind me in my belief of a sphere, it's down to you to prove otherwise. Well, no. In this respect, we can prove otherwise, because that distance at 93 million miles is based on R. R for Earth, that's Earth radius, get my tongue around it, and then that is superimposed onto Venus so that they can get the scaling values from Kepler's third law.
Yeah, let me just address that. So if somebody appeals to consensus for the nature or the reality of the world in which we live, that is a fallacy. Appealing to consensus is a fallacy. The burden of proof, let's be really clear, it's on the one that makes the positive assertion, the one that makes the claim. The claim is we live on a sphere. That is the positive claim. We don't have to disprove that. We don't have to make our own model to be able to disprove that. We just need to demonstrate that there's no curvature. We don't have to redefine the textbooks. We just have to say that the textbooks are wrong, which is all we do. So let's just be clear on who's got the burden of proof. It is not us, it is them. Consensus reality is not the real world.
Okay.
Hold on.
Well said.
They never claim.
Hold on, just one sec. Go ahead. Not whatever it is.
Yeah, I've never seen anyone realistically prove that there is no curve.
That's a negative statement. You've not realistically seen anybody prove there is not. My bad. I left a pause. Hello? Don't just start talking the minute I start responding. Hello?
Yeah, it was. I don't know why I stopped. I was going to ask if you had any proof that there is no curve, because I haven't seen.
Yeah, I heard you the first time I was responding. This time, shut your mouth when I respond. It's fairly straightforward. That means don't talk when I talk. That is a negative statement. So you're reversing the burden of proof and asking me to prove there isn't curve when you assume there is. It's your positive claim that was just explained 2 minutes ago by Anthony Riley, Sleeping Warrior. It's your positive claim, so you're going to say, well, it's down to you to prove there isn't? It's a burden of proof reversal fallacy, you clown.
And just to be clear, a positive claim can't be seen as a negative claim. It's not like gravity where you can think it's a force. It is the positive claim. It is not the negative claim.
Yeah, meanwhile, that's a positive claim from you, my friend. So any evidence of Earth curvature?
They never claimed.
Wasn't to you, Arwin. It was to the guy that was saying he hadn't seen anybody that proved there wasn't. That's a positive claim that I'm asking him to now prove as his positive claim.
Was he saying he never seen any curvature, or he never seen any proof?
He's saying, God, you guys need to listen closer. I've never seen anybody disprove the curve, is what he's saying.
Okay, well, it's hard to understand when a guy mumbles. With a great voice like that, he's mumbling. Speak up!
He's just gone totally silent now. Is he even still here? Is he vanished?
Yeah, still here.
So, evidence of Earth curvature, my friend.
There's plenty. You always call it fake.
Come again?
There's plenty of evidence, but all flat earthers just call it fake. So,
do you want to present some? Rather than assuming our response to something which you've now interrupted while I clarify again. I leave a pause. Yeah? So, this is me talking, not you. So, rather than telling us there's loads and we'll deny it, that would be to assume we'll deny it. Stereotyping fallacy. Second fallacy you've used so far. So, still your positive claim. You say there's loads of evidence. Let's see what you've got.
The entirety of NASA.
Oh, really? NASA?
Yeah.
So, NASA?
Yes, NASA.
Operating from space.
Literally the whole point.
Yeah, you don't need to repeat it. We heard, we're not deaf. So while I'm responding, you don't need to repeat that which I am responding to. Do you understand that? You seem slow.
I understand.
Yeah, you don't need to say, yeah, NASA through me while I'm responding. I'm not deaf. Thank you. So NASA operate in a vacuum of the sky. If that was the case, all of the gas pressure which you're currently breathing would vacate into that area. We'd all be dead. The area they operate in is a second law of thermodynamics violation. There is no vacuum of the sky to take pictures from. What are you babbling about?
I think that guy needs to go to bed or something. Sounds like he's in Australia. I think he's just had too much to smoke and he thought he could take on flat earth debates or something.
Thank you for your colour commentary, Arwin. So, outer space is the second law of thermodynamics violation. If the sky was a vacuum, the gas we breathe would fill that space. Ergo, all pictures from that region are fake. Automatically fake. Not because I'm hand-waving them, because I'm a flat earther as you anticipated, but by way of a natural law called the second law of thermodynamics. Do you understand what I've said?
Yeah, I understand what you have said.
Do you have any rebuttal to that?
Not really, as I'm not educated on the second law of thermodynamics, so I don't want to discuss this and just sound like an idiot.
Oh, let me summarise. It's entropy. For example, high pressure to low pressure. You understand that high pressure flows to low pressure?
Yeah.
You understand that? Do you understand that you are currently breathing a high pressure gas?
Yeah.
Do you understand that the claim of the pictures that you said had been taken by NASA from space would be in a region 10 to the minus 17 torr? That would be a very, 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 very low pressure. And entropy would dictate that the high pressure we're breathing would flow to that low pressure. It's called entropy, summarised in the law called the second law of thermodynamics. So you understand that the high pressure gas would flow to the low pressure vacuum then?
Yes, I understand that.
So no pictures from space then. So I'll ask again, why would it be the case that you would assert that everything that NASA have provided from Narnia, a place that isn't real, would affirm your belief in a sphere Earth, when the area they're claiming to take pictures from isn't real? It's fake. It doesn't exist. It violates natural law. So no pictures from space. So why would you believe in Earth curve when you've got pictures from a fake place? What kind of idiot believes that? I'm asking, it's not rhetorical.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to think of a response. If I wasn't educated on the subject, then how would I know they would fake those pictures?
But you told me that you would expect me to deny it as being fake, and I've given you a second law of thermodynamics violation as your religion of the sky that NASA give you pictures from, and I'm asking why you believe that.
Well, I don't know any reason as to why I shouldn't believe that.
Because it violates the second law of thermodynamics. High pressure gas moves to low pressure by way of an entropy increase. That's the second time I've explained it to you. Do you still think you've got no reason to disbelieve that the Narnia area above your head is a vacuum where they take pictures from, somewhere you've never been, but the men in suits have been to heaven to take pictures from a violation of natural law? Third time I've told you, you've got a reason to disbelieve it now. It violates natural law. Still, just that's it. Shut down. Silence. Your last response is you don't have a reason to disbelieve what NASA say. You do. It's a violation of natural law. Nothing? Is that the end of it then? Shut down completely. Well, nice that you're not interrupting me. So, to conclude, outer space is fake. There are absolutely no pictures of Earth as a sphere from a place that doesn't exist. The sky is not a vacuum. If the sky was a vacuum, as asserted, to be a place you can take pictures from, then the gas we breathe would fill the space. We'd all be dead. It would be 10 to the minus 17 torr at sea level. We wouldn't be breathing high pressure gas. It would fill the space. Ergo, space isn't a space for gas to fill. It would have filled it.
Could I respectfully ask for a rebuttal to that? If silence isn't really a rebuttal, it's just ignorance, can we have a response? Like, do you think that gas pressure can coexist next to a vacuum without pushing into it by virtue of the force that's present called pressure? Do you think that that can choose not to do that?
All I heard at the start of this was a concession straight away by the gentleman. He admitted he had no knowledge, didn't understand it. I'm not sure where you can go from that point after you concede that you don't have the knowledge to substantiate your own point.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too. He admitted like, oh, I never knew that. And then when you asked him, do you still believe it? He's like, I had no reason not to believe, but I think your explanation kind of maybe silenced him because he's like, wow, I never thought about that. Maybe something clicked. So I don't know. Maybe he is.
That's why I'm asking for
rethinking
a response.
I might have misheard him. If he
Isn't
says
this
Go ahead, whoever that was, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Isn't this the moment that you become a flat earther when you realize that you have nothing to rebut and everything you're saying makes sense? It seems like this is a turning point for him, maybe.
It's either that or that's when the pain kicks in.
This
God,
is the
if you ask
metaphorical.
yourself, that's when you turn.
Yes, Stag. This is the
Yeah,
metaphorical equivalent of Morpheus sat in front of Neo with two pills. In one hand, I have a second law of thermodynamics violation sky vacuum that you thought proved Earth was a sphere. Now, you can take the red pill and believe that the sky is still a vacuum, resulting in cognitive pain from now until the reason you have relinquished it and ignored it is clear to you. Or you can take the blue pill and realise that everything about that area that you thought was proving Earth's sphere is actually a lie akin to Narnia. Which pill? Red? Pain. Blue? Well, might be a bit of relief, might be a bit of a shock, but eventually, definitely not pain at the end of the blue pill.
You got the colors wrong.
Doesn't matter.
Both Anthony and I are colourblind. I don't know what bloody...
Can we have a response? Can we have I want to hear what his rebuttal is.
I don't actually have a rebuttal. I'm just not really educated, so I came here to become more educated on this subject.
Can I ask one question of you that's not related then? Did you say, I have or had no reason to disbelieve? Because my tone would have been different depending on which one you said. I think I misheard.
I had no reason to disbelieve.
I still didn't catch it. You broke up again. Say it once more.
Had.
Oh, I would have adjusted my tone if I'd have heard it in past tense. So my bad. My tone would have been a lot less severe. Sorry.
But can we? So if you don't have a rebuttal, does that mean that then you realise that and accept that we're breathing pressure that's supposed to exist next to a vacuum, but it would push into it if that was really the case? And the only way that that's possible is if we're in a container of some kind. Now, that doesn't mean I know what the container is, in the same way that I don't know what cow died when I'm eating the burger on the plate with my chips. But I do know that there was at some point a cow somewhere in a field eating fodder. But we're breathing something, right? So space can't, the sky can't be a vacuum. We're not looking into the deep blackness of space thinking that it's the solar system. Something else must be going on. Do you now accept that?
Yeah, I'm just going to take your word for it at the moment until I do some more research into it.
Best answer you could have given.
Perfect.
Don't even take our word for it. Would have been no until I confirm this from my own best ability. Would have been an even better answer. But yeah, based on our authority in terms of our statements, I would assume you go, okay, fine, I'll take that as read for now until I confirm it. That's just as good an answer. But yeah, check it out. Go and read up on entropy.
So what I can do is I can recommend somewhere really good to go to check what we're saying is true. His name's Conspiracy Cats, and he's a physics teacher in a high school. When you go and ask him that question, he will run away. He will literally run away because he hasn't got an answer for it.
Okay, before we descend this into farce, right, did you have any other questions? Because you've been very conciliatory so far.
I had one, but it's probably a commonly asked question. How would gravity work on a flat Earth?
Great. Gravity is defined, and we know what causes it by Einstein in 1915. It is the current position in physics today. It's defined as an effect, and that effect is caused by the uneven distribution of mass. Now, the effect of gravity is, in its simplest terms, an illusion, right? It's the perception of acceleration when there isn't actually acceleration. So we perceive an acceleration, but it's not an actual one. So in other words, it's an illusion. Now, that's what gravity is defined as. So gravity can't act on something. It is the result of being acted on by mass. That's all gravity is. So it doesn't explain why the atmosphere is not pushing into the vacuum, unfortunately. Unless Einstein's wrong, of course.
Hold on. Anthony's taking it straight to the advanced pseudo-force space of Einsteinian What do you think gravity is before you get into the depths that Anthony has? What do you perceive gravity to be? When you say gravity,
The
what do you mean?
force that pulls.
A force that pulls. Perfect.
That
So
pulls
it would be
towards
the thing.
center of the earth.
Yeah. So
Well,
the
I
force.
got told it was different. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So the force that pulls things to the center of the earth. Correct.
Yeah.
Perfect. So that particular description wasn't what Anthony answered. You're describing something that's 106 years out of date. That would be Reverend John Michel, C.V. Boyes, and Cavendish gravity, which is falsely ascribed to Newton. So it's under the banner of Newtonian gravity. That's what you're describing. The force of gravity being Newtonian 106-year out of date gravity, devised by Reverend John Michel, C.V. Boyes, and Cavendish. Cavendish might be one of the names you've heard of because of the Cavendish quasi-experiment that they sometimes punt to assert mass attracts mass. Now, there is a few problems with that, and I'm not going to go through them, other than to ask you a couple of questions. Would you assume that if I'm holding something with mass in my left hand now and I drop it, it will go towards the ground then?
Yes.
Oh, I've let it go and it's gone to the ceiling. My helium balloon. What about if I boil a kettle? Which way will the steam go?
It would go up.
Not down towards the centre of... So you're telling me steam doesn't have mass? So that's debunked. It's 106 years out of date. Mass doesn't attract mass. It's debunked by gas. Going in completely opposite direction, unbonded, and should it encounter the ground, because it happens to be going down, it'll bounce straight off it and go in the opposite direction with no net change, because it's got an elastic collision going on. So no, mass doesn't attract mass. That's 106 years out of date. Most people are taught that at a high school level and never go on to university to be told, actually, no, that's actually out of date by 106 years, and then have Anthony's description of Einsteinian bending of space-time gravity detailed to them to relinquish you of your misapprehension that mass attracts mass. It doesn't. Let go of a helium balloon or watch steam go up to the clouds and then condense and come back down as the more dense form of water in rain. But the steam, the gas, went up and didn't come back down because mass attracts mass. You with me?
Yeah, I'm with you.
That's Archimedes' principle, Nathan. Elementary school.
Just one more thing for this guy. The reason I tell you all of that is because when we put it out to people who are more advanced opponents or advocates of the globe in this respect, they'll say there's a force holding the gas here, that's why it doesn't fill the space. And they'll lead you to the belief that gravity is the force holding gas in violation of natural law, when mass does not attract mass and gravity is not a force. Hope that's clear.
Made that pretty clear.
Perfect. What was the other guy's question?
I
Hey,
was
Roscoe.
saying that
Sorry, go ahead.
I was saying that the vapor of something going up or a helium balloon going up, it's because of the Archimedes principle. And
Tell
then
us more.
when it's up, it is affected by gravity. First, it obeys the Archimedes principle. For example, helium is less dense than oxygen, so it goes up, and oxygen stays down. That's the reason why, for example, in Mount Everest, there's less oxygen than in a beach, for example.
I'm a bit confused.
And when it goes up, then
Sorry, I'm a bit confused. Sorry, you
there's
just
the
said
gravity
oxygen
force
goes
going
down.
down.
I'm just a bit confused. Oxygen going down? So it's starting at the top and making its way down, but then you went on to say that there's less on Everest. Surely if it's going down, the higher concentration would be up high, because oxygen's created in the sky, isn't it? To come down to force the helium up. Is that correct? Gas oxygen production is in the sky.
Now, Archimedes' principle relates particularly to fluids, and it's about displacement. You may then try to crowbar in buoyancy and gravity, but the reality is that Archimedes' principle states that the amount of weight, the volume of displacement is equivalent to the weight. That's what it's talking about.
But it also applies to other things, not only fluids. For example, yourself, if you go in in water, you float because you are less dense and you are not a fluid.
That's fascinating. So a gas, in this case oxygen, was asserted by you to be going down to force the helium up. Therefore, by your assertion, before you interrupt, try again. I try again. By your assertion, oxygen's being produced in the sky and going down to force the helium up. Is that correct or incorrect?
Not at all. Oxygen is not produced in the sky because...
So you are just talking stupid nonsense, stupid idiocy that doesn't make sense because gas isn't forcing the helium up by way of oxygen production going down then?
Nathan, all the gases are produced at...
Go ahead.
Can I continue?
Well, you told me that the oxygen was going down, and then you've just told me it's
I didn't
not...
tell you that.
So it's
I
not
didn't tell you
Archimedes'
that.
principle of the gas around the helium pushing it up. That would be oxygen when you described it with oxygen going down to force the helium up. That's what you said.
That's citing yourself, quoting yourself. That's a straw man. I didn't say that oxygen goes down. I said that helium goes up and the oxygen stays in place.
So what's forcing it up if it's not going down?
The Archimedes principle
that applies to liquids.
Applies to everything.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, to fluids, yeah, to gases and liquids. Yeah, sorry.
But it doesn't, mate. It doesn't apply to solids, yeah, in terms of the Archimedes principle acting on the solid, and it doesn't apply to gases. It applies to the action of a solid, yeah, or contained matter with its action to the fluid, and it relates to the amount of fluid that will be displaced will be equivalent to the weight. It's got nothing to do with gases, and it doesn't affect it. Certainly, the principle itself does not apply to gas behavior. It's denied by gas behavior, hence why it's not applicable to gases.
I've got a question for you, my friend. Do you know what the Joule expansion of gas is?
The what?
It's called the Joule expansion of gas, also known as free expansion.
Maybe not. Well, I'm Spanish, so I'm not really knowing all these names, but maybe if you explain it to me, I will know what this is.
Part of the second law of thermodynamics.
Yeah, it's the part that describes what behavior gas takes, which is it fills the available volume. It always pushes out in all directions and fills the available volume. It's that process, it's that behavior that's called the Joule expansion of gas. And it applies always. So if it applies against the Earth, which I say it does, then it means that the gas pressure that we breathe in must be pushing evenly against all surfaces, and there's only the one, and pushing out, because that's what pressure does. Now, if you say, well, there's something else that it's not that simple because it doesn't apply to Earth or whatever, can you give me the explanation for why that does not apply to Earth, please?
Why the dual gas expansion doesn't apply to Earth?
Yeah, why does the Joule expansion of gas not apply to Earth?
But to the Earth or to the atmosphere?
No, to
the Earth. Yeah, to the atmosphere on the Earth.
No. Atmosphere is sphere-shaped air. We don't have sphere-shaped air. Air takes the shape of its container. It's the V in standard gas law. Volume. Air is not sphere-shaped, so no, it's not applicable. It's a natural law. It's applicable to everything that we're experiencing naturally. So if you're breathing it, that's natural. Yeah, it'll apply to that. Atmosphere, that doesn't exist. It's an oxymoron.
Well, so it applies to Earth because, I mean, it expands, and with that force, well, it expands with the force of, it expands, but the force of the gravity that is affecting the gas, it's stronger than the force that the gas does to expand.
Two things.
So it expands as much as it can, but it is still attracted to Earth.
So
two things.
Just Anthony, just one second. Anthony, just for the guy listening that we were speaking to earlier. Yeah? We were saying somebody will come along and assert that gravity is a force. It's not a force. But he's now saying the force of gravity pushes the gases down to force the other gases up, which are all expanding, So he said that about 5 times. They're all expanding. Yeah, then they'd fill the space. And you get to answer Anthony's question about dual expansion. Go ahead, Anthony.
There's 2 responses
Can
to
I
that.
say a little thing? A little thing, just.
Let me respond to what you said. We don't see the gases expanding on Earth. They seem to be pooling on the ground that we walk on, and they seem, because we see more pressure on the ground than we do at higher elevations. So it's not expanding in all directions. There appears to be a concentration at the ground level. Now, if it was expanding in all directions, it wouldn't be here for us to breathe. But you said it's being acted upon by the force of gravity. But we know that gravity is defined in current science as an effect. It isn't a force. It doesn't act on matter. It doesn't accelerate mass. It's an effect. That's the opposite of a force. That's the acceleration. But for there to be an acceleration, there's got to be a force. But you haven't got a force to be able to do it. You're saying gravity, but that's the effect. So you're in a violation there of the law of contradiction. You're using the opposite of what you need. You need the force, but you're claiming the effect. So no, that's not sufficient to explain why we're breathing, I'm afraid.
But the thing is that, well, at least now we don't know fully what gravity is. It is still
We do.
investigating.
We do know.
If
We do
it's
know.
a force, if it's a particle.
Sorry,
of
stop.
Of
Hello?
this.
Hello?
Yeah.
You don't know what gravity is. We do. You've been
It's being studied right now.
You have stated, we don't know what gravity is. Yeah, we do. You don't. You think it's a force. You are wrong. So let's make it clear. You don't know what gravity is. We do. Is that clear?
I expressed myself wrong. I said.
Yeah, you were wrong. We know. So shut up.
And please
shut up. We know you don't know. That's abundantly clear. Now shut up. Go ahead, Anthony.
Okay.
That means shut up! You thick, globe-believing clown! How many times? Yes, you have expressed, by way of an expression to everybody on the panel, that we don't know what this gravity you speak of is. No, we do, you don't, so shut up!
It's funny how you don't hear from this guy until we have somebody
that goes for you too, Neil. Shut up! Anthony, go ahead.
But the bottom line with your point about gravity is that it isn't satisfying the definition because it's defined in current physics, science. We know what it is. It's defined, right? We know that it's an effect. And we also know that because the gas appears to be pooling, the only way that's possible is if we're in a container of some kind. Now, again, it doesn't mean I know what it's made of. It doesn't mean I know how far away it is. In the same way that I don't know where the cow was living when I ate my burger. But I do realize there must have been a cow at some point. Can you respond to that point, please?
Can you repeat, please?
I said.
Oh, come on.
Eel, please.
I said, we do know what gravity is. It's defined. It's an effect. Okay. That doesn't mean that you can use it as a force when it's an effect. We do know that the gas appears to be pooling at ground level. The only way that's possible is if we're inside a container somehow. It isn't possible because of the dual expansion of gas. It pushes it out in all directions. It isn't possible to do what you're saying it does. And gravity is defined as an effect. So you haven't got an explanation for how we're breathing.
But gravity is the effect of what?
The uneven distribution of mass. It's the effect of the curvature of space-time caused by the uneven distribution of mass. It creates the perception of an acceleration when there isn't one. It's an illusion.
Yeah, it's an effect that causes something else, in which
no, because then that would be a cause.
Is attracting mass to mass. So
no,
we can use this to describe that when something is closer, it's like magnets. If you put a magnet closer to another, it will be stronger than if you put them away. The same applies to, in this case, the gas and the earth. When it is
show us
closer to the earth, will be
we heard.
Force will
Thank
be
you.
stronger.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
you. Don't say it 6 more times over the top of me. I heard. Show us gas pressure without a container. Go.
Yeah, the gravity
No,
pulls
don't appeal to
each
what you're
individual.
trying to prove. Don't just point at your fundamentalist religious belief in a non-force called gravity. It is not a force. You telling me it's like magnets when you don't know what it is, and you're asserting that it's a 106-year out-of-date force, it isn't. Quote, George Musa. Literally, it's not a force. End quote. George Musa, Scientific American. You want another quote? Professor Brian Cox, quote, there isn't really a force of gravity at all. End quote. Professor Brian Cox. Do you understand?
Yes, but
So
first of
shut
all, I'm
up
saying
about your
force.
stupid magnets then. It's not a force. It's not like magnets, you dumb fuck. Do you understand?
Yes, okay.
So it's not holding gas here. So your weak ass rebuttal that says, no, it is actually a force, we've made it absolutely plainly clear and given you quotes from astrophysicists, professors that say it isn't, and you say it's like magnets. No, clown, it isn't. And it's not holding gas here. Do we make ourselves clear? Gravity's definitely not a force, and it's definitely not holding gas here in violation of natural law. Okay?
It isn't a force, but it...
Right, so it isn't holding gas here then. Yes, that's absolutely correct. The thing you asserted that was like magnets acting like a force holding gas here isn't.
But mass it has directed to mass.
No, it isn't. That's 106 years out of date.
To the gases.
Sorry, a helium balloon is not being attracted to the mass of Earth. So are we going to do the next circle jerk fundy presuppositional argument where the gas above it's going down, go boom boom, to force it up? We've already had this argument. You don't have a force.
The helium goes up because of the Archimedes principle.
Yes, so you're going to circle jerk us round to the original point. Yes, share your pain. We've covered this. Yeah, you are doing what's called the fundy do-si-do circle jerk, where you reassert your position we've already asserted and taken apart.
Yeah, because you're not listening. You are taking my argument and...
What, ripping it to shreds based on the fact that you say a force pulls the gas around the helium balloon down, therefore forcing the helium balloon up. Yeah, that still requires a force on the gas.
Let me ask you a...
Yeah, you stuttering bitch. So, the gas being pulled down by Archimedes' principle has got to have a force pulling it down then. And you haven't got one.
Have you seen about...
Don't ask me anything new. You haven't got a force pulling the gas around the helium down to displace it up. You don't have that force.
Archimedes' principle. Have you...
You don't have a force on the gases around it pulling it down. How many times, fundy circle jerker? How many times will you tell me that Archimedes' principle, which Adam took apart immediately, is somehow going to be subverting the fact that gas expands in all directions, as we've already covered twice, and just go back to the principle that requires a force to pull the gases around the helium down? You haven't got that force.
He doesn't get that bit. He thinks that Archimedes' principle is the application of gravity, but he doesn't realize that gravity is not a force. So maybe we could let's just ask him, what's the causal agent in Archimedes' principle?
Well, first of all, I'm going to respond to the first thing. The gravity is not a force, but it affects it gives weight to something, and that weight is the force. That was the thing that I was trying to say.
No, it does not.
It doesn't. It creates the perception of an acceleration when there is none. That doesn't help you with Archimedes.
What? You can see the acceleration of the gravity.
That's right.
That's what you're saying.
You can see the acceleration, yeah, but because of Einstein defining gravity the way it is, he says that it's the perception of an acceleration when there is none. That's his definition. So if you're going to say there actually is an acceleration, you're saying that Einstein must be wrong. Now, are you going to say that Einstein must be wrong?
No, I'm saying that there is acceleration given because of the weight that is given because of gravity.
See, now this is where gravity doesn't work, because Einstein said it only causes an apparent acceleration, not an actual acceleration. For an actual acceleration, you need a force, but you don't have that because gravity isn't a force. It's a perception of an apparent acceleration. But we're not talking about perceptions of apparent acceleration. We're talking about actual acceleration, for which a force is needed, but you don't have a force.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't understand you. That is right. The acceleration is not really a real acceleration, but what does
Oh, right.
this have
right.
to do?
So if it's not real acceleration pushing the gas down around the helium balloon, it's not really a force to displace the helium upwards then, is it? So you haven't got a force pulling the gas down then? That's correct.
No.
Yes. You haven't got a gas force pulling it down around the helium balloon or the steam to displace it upwards with an imaginary force that isn't a force. Quote, George Musa, literally, it's not a force, end quote. So no, not Archimedes' principle. No, the gas around it not being pushed down or pulled down, go boom boom. No, because gravity doesn't do that. It's not a force. You seem reluctant to relinquish this fundamentalist religious belief you hold in a not actual force, holding gas pressure in violation of natural law. It's not a force. It's about the 12th time we've told you. Maybe you'd like to give us a false equivalent about how it's magnets.
The thing I was trying to say is that citing a guy in the comments that really reflected the thing that I wanted to say, the acceleration due to gravity gives weight to the mass and of air, and weight is a force, and that makes things go down. It doesn't matter if the acceleration is apparent or is a real acceleration. The thing that we can see is that it pulls things down.
I see.
The gas
So-
has
or-
mass,
so I see.
therefore
So-
it will be pulled down.
So it pulls things down.
What?
So the gas is being pulled down then.
Yeah.
Which gas started up in the sky and was pulled down, go boom boom
No,
like
no, no.
bouncy balls? Sorry, you interrupted the end of my question. Which gas is created up high and going down like bouncy balls? Which gas is doing that?
I never said that gas.
That's precisely what you said. You said it makes things go down.
Gases form at the level of the sea. Well, not in the sky, but in the ground.
Oh, so they're not going down. They're going up.
Or
So they're not
combustion-
going down. You need the gas to go down. That's what you've said. Everything goes down. And then Archimedes' principle forces it up because the gas is going down. When I ask which gas is going down from the sky, none of them.
The process that you don't want to hear from me is that gas forms on the ground level.
So going up then, not going down like you say it must with the force of gravity that's not a force. So the gas is going up from ground level then. That would be up.
Yes.
So nothing's forcing it down. And no other gases are falling down to force those gases up. They're just starting at ground level, and then following entropy, they expand to fill the space, having started on the ground and gone up.
But they go up because of their...
Yeah, they go up, not down, go boom boom, not gravity. They go up like you keep conceding. But yet you keep telling us about everything's going to go down because of gravity, and that's going to make the gas go down. No. Wrong. You're an idiot. They start at ground level according to you. They make their way up from ground level according to you. They're definitely going up, not down. Not go boom boom, not gravity. You're just a clown.
They go up and then the gravity...
Did you all hear that, ladies and gentlemen? The gases go up. That's right. Pissing in the face of gravity. That's correct. Up.
Take this out of... Don't take this out of
Stutter
context.
for me, bitch. The gases are going up, bitch. That's right, you stuttering clown. They're not going down, go boom boom.
They go up and...
That's right, they go up. Pissing in the face of this gravity, pulling them down from the magical sky gas factories that don't exist, when they're all created at ground level and go up.
And then they go down.
Oh, then they go down like bouncy balls? Oh, really? So
how did
in
you
the
know?
water cycle, the gas goes up to the clouds and then falls down as gas?
How did he know which way to go?
It doesn't go down.
Oh, it doesn't go down. We finally got there, ladies and gentlemen. So your horseshit assertion that the gases do go down and cause Archimedes' principle, you've just conceded they don't go down.
Oh my god.
Yeah, laugh it up, you fundy clown. That's right, they don't go down.
They go up.
Yeah, they do. So that's pissing in the face of your Archimedes assertion that gases are going down because they're forced down with gravity to force the steam up. No, mate, they're all starting at ground level. They all go up. None of them are going down. You've just told us they don't go down. So they don't go down then for your shit argument we've gone through 5 times.
Okay, so they go.
Okay, so how do my balls taste? No, they don't go down for your shit Archimedes argument. They're not doing that. How do the flat earthers' balls taste?
Stop talking over me.
Yeah, how do my balls taste? You've just told us the gases don't go down. And I quote, you, the gases don't go down, end quote, you, globe-believing clown. So, as a result of you destroying your own argument by saying they don't go down, which is your argument that they do go down to force the helium up with gravity, which isn't a force, now I'd like to know how my balls taste.
Gas goes down.
Oh, even though you've just told us literally only 2 minutes ago that it doesn't go down. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is where we describe cognitive pain. Quote, the gases don't go down. Now, the gases go down. See, that causes cognitive dissonance. 2 mutually exclusive positions that he can't hold simultaneously, but he does. Because according to him, gravity makes the gas go down, go boom, boom like bouncy balls. But he's also, and I quote, said gas doesn't go down. It's created at ground level. It goes up. Ergo, cognitive pain for him, education for you.
Principle. It's elementary school. Come on.
So that would be an ad hominem attack telling me that I'm more stupid than a small child? Ad hominem attack, as opposed to response to the cognitive problem he has. Quote, the gas doesn't go down. Quote, the gas goes down. Your cognitive problem, not my lack of basic education.
Many times do I have to say it? Gas goes down and it obeys the Archimedes principle. So
No, it doesn't. You made it clear that gas doesn't go down. I could trim that out and play it every time you repeat that it goes down. I'll have your quote played where you said gas doesn't go down, followed up by you saying it's created at ground level and goes up. So no, by your own admission, that's not what happens, mate.
I'm not a
Just bear
fluent
with me a
speaker of
sec.
English.
Let
That's
me
why I
ask this guy
have
a
problems.
question.
But the gas goes down and it obeys the Archimedes principle. That's why there are
Okay,
layers of
shut up a
gas
sec.
and
Shut
that
up.
gas stays in place.
Listen, a question for you.
Yeah.
In Archimedes' principle, what is the causal agent that makes these things move?
The difference of density.
Not gravity, then, no?
Well, yeah, gravity, sorry.
Sorry, that's not what you said. My bad, I meant gravity.
Gravity
realise that
affects
the
the
difference
thing-
in
Chant it through him,
density
mate.
is
Chant
our argument.
through us. Chant through us that it's actually gravity. Chant.
Can I talk? Thanks.
You can chant gravity through us.
when you
Chant
have-
gravity for us, you chanting Fundy.
Mass is attracted to
Yeah, you're not really paying attention to anything I say, and you've decided that whether or not I speak is irrelevant, and you're going to be talking all the time. That's what you've decided. No, you're not going to chant gravity
density
through us.
affects because
So you are literally going to chant every time I leave a pause and start talking. You Fundy triggered spastic. Yeah, okay, mate. Do you want to simmer down? We're trying to have a reasonable conversation with people who aren't completely triggered because they hold 2 positions simultaneously. Gas created at ground level going up and gas goes down, go boom boom. No. But I'd prefer if you didn't talk through every single time we try and summarise your cognitive pain and your contradiction that you hold. We'll summarise that without you interruption if you don't mind. Go ahead, Anthony.
You do realise that the relative positions of density is our argument for why these things seem to be doing what they're doing in Archimedes' principle?
no, I didn't say the things that I wanted to say. Is that when you have more mass, more density, well, yeah, if you have more mass, then the force of gravity acting to that body will be stronger than if
See,
you have
you've just done it again. You've just done it again. You've just said that if you have more mass, gravity, you have more gravity acting, but gravity by definition cannot act on matter. It's defined as an effect. So something causes the gravity, which is the perception of acceleration when it's not actual acceleration. But we are seeing actual acceleration for which you need a force. Now, gravity is not a force. It's defined as an effect.
But weight is.
So
Yeah, the moment you say gravity's not a force, that triggers him to talk through it because he can't bear to hear it. So he's got to chant through the top of it, Anthony. Say it again. Tell him how gravity's not a force.
the problem you've got, sir, is when you cite gravity to make something move, by definition, it can't. So we're asking, why is it we're able to breathe and the gas has not escaped? And you keep saying it's gravity, but it's defined and it can't accelerate mass. It creates an illusion of an acceleration when it's not actual.
Mass creates weight that pulls things down. And that's why
No, it doesn't pull
the
things
gas
down.
doesn't go up.
God.
It doesn't pull things down. It creates the perception of acceleration when there is none. It doesn't cause the
That doesn't
acceleration of
matter.
mass.
You can see things going from up to down.
Does steam have
It
mass?
doesn't talk
Does steam
No,
have mass? Does steam have mass?
Things go down.
Yo, triggered Fundy, who keeps talking through me. Does steam have mass?
Yeah.
And it's attracted to the center of Earth, is it?
Yes.
So gas go down,
That's
go boom,
perfect.
boom.
Wow.
So gas go, steam go down, go boom, boom.
The Archimedes principle.
So steam go down, go boom, boom to the center of Earth, right?
Also,
You're going to ignore me, you coward. We were talking about the steam going down, go boom, boom. I asked if it goes down. You said yes to the center of Earth because it's got mass.
the steam is hot, and that will make it.
Sorry, has it got mass? Doesn't matter how hot it is, it's got mass. So it's going to go down to the center of Earth then, right?
But why does?
Sorry, why are you asking me a new question rather than just saying no? Yes, steam has got mass, but no, it's not going down, go boom, boom to the center of the mass of Earth. Why aren't you just saying no?
There's a force.
Stutter for me. I love it. That's right, bitch.
What force is there?
Or not, because you are posing me a question and I can't answer because you keep talking over me.
Yeah, it's really me Fundy muting you, ignoring our point that gravity's not a force, as you continually reassert that it's pulling gas go down, go boom, boom, because mass attracts mass. I follow up by asking if steam has mass, and you start weaseling away with new questions and not explaining why gas with mass isn't going to the centre of Earth with mass. You're still yet to address it, but you want to claim I'm muting you by talking through you, you total coward.
I mean, the thing is that this is a ninth grade thing.
So we're back to the ad hominem personal attack. No, I asked if steam has mass, and it's an attack on my education status. A fallacy, an ad hominem fallacy. That's not a rebuttal, you total coward. Don't address my education status. Address why steam with mass isn't moving to the centre of the mass of the Earth you said it would go towards because mass attracts mass. It doesn't!
Applies to the steam that goes up.
So it goes up? Oh, so it's not going down, go boom, boom to the centre of mass of Earth then? So mass isn't attracting mass in that instance then?
So the thing is that there's a force that makes steam go up.
Chant it, chant it. Chant that there's a force that's going to force the gas around it down so I can ask you about the gas factories in the sky for the third time. You chanting Fundy zealot.
I didn't say that there's a gas factories on this.
There isn't any gas factories in the sky, you total clown. You told us it was made at ground level and made its way up. But you're simultaneously going to tell us how the gas is being pulled down. Go boom boom, like bouncy balls poured into a fish tank, as asserted by PhD clown Thunderfoot. When in reality, the gas is created at ground level and goes up.
The gas goes up because of the because of
you stuttering Fundy bitch. That's right, it goes up. Then you start stuttering and stammering and claiming that I'm talking through you. No, I'm ripping your fundamentalist zealot belief apart.
gas
He's
goes
ripping
up
it
because of
apart
the Archimedes
himself.
principle, and then there are some cases in which gravity isn't as strong as the force that it's pulling it up. But
It's not pulling anything. It doesn't pull.
There are no places where gravity is a force. It is defined in current science, and it is an effect. So, what force is pulling things down in the app when you are applying Archimedes' principle, please?
Weight.
Weight is a force, and how did they get weight? What is the process in physics?
How do you weigh a gas?
Hang on.
I mean,
How do you get?
has
Where
mass,
is weight in physics?
so
Tell
it
me,
is
what is
attractive.
weight in physics?
So the gas has mass, very little mass, but it has mass, and that mass.
Okay.
That
But
mass
that's
is
not weight,
attracted
is
to
it?
mass.
That's not weight.
Mass and weight are two different
But
things.
let me explain. You're ultra anxious. You can wait 1 minute for me to explain. So gas has mass, and the Earth has mass. They will attract. But because gas has really,
No.
really little mass, one
What in the
molecule
world?
of oxygen has
Mass
5
doesn't attract mass.
5 times 10
That's
to
not
the
the
power of
definition
minus
for gravity.
23
You're wrong.
grams.
Why
The
are we
force
letting
of
this guy
gravity will
chant?
not be strong as to pull
You
it
just
down
circle
as if it
jerking the
was
whole
a
time,
rock.
man.
Yeah.
Therefore, the Archimedes principle will.
I hear
Yeah,
you,
he's just
John.
going to keep chanting it. He's chanting like a bitch.
He is. He's chanting.
Chant that shit through us.
You can't blush. Sir, do you know that you're in violation of Boyle's Law, Charles' Law,
We
Gay-Lussac's
subtract it
Law,
equals
He's
zero.
just
Dalton's Law,
chanting.
the second law of thermodynamics, and you're denying Brownian motion all in one fell swoop?
How does the second law of thermodynamics apply to the atmosphere if the atmosphere is not
The
a
atmosphere is
thermodynamic process?
contradiction in terms, and the second law applies everywhere.
I already covered that. Didn't you listen to me?
It was covered when we gave
Not
you the
at all.
behavior of gas in the form of joule expansion of gas.
We covered this, you chanting fundy zealot. We covered it. Atmosphere, oxymoron, air doesn't take the shape of a sphere. We've covered this, you chanting zealot.
But is the atmosphere moving at thermodynamic?
Sorry, so you're going to ignore every word that we've just said in favour of your cognitive bias towards atmosphere that's an oxymoron that stands in violation of natural gas law, standard gas law. You don't have a V if air is in a sphere shape. I already explained that. That's the second time. You chanting fundamentalist religious zealot.
Well, you know
No,
what?
I mean,
In a way, he does have a point, but he probably doesn't realize it when he says
Not
that
now, Arwin.
second law of thermodynamics doesn't apply to the atmosphere because, yeah, it doesn't apply to your model. Why? Because your model's wrong. That's why.
no, it applies to the atmosphere, but not in that particular process.
You don't have an
Because-
atmosphere,
He's
man.
just going to ignore
It's
us,
a
Chocolate.
contradiction in terms, dude.
Chocolate.
Do you know how many times you've destroyed your own argument in the 20 minutes I've been here? Are you kidding? Why do you keep doing this to yourself?
He can't blush.
I mean,
Because somebody came in with a question. We haven't heard from this guy for months. And he heard somebody had a question and might be paying attention. So he comes in with his religion.
That he's destroying himself single-handedly. Are you kidding me?
He's literally doing a back and forth against himself. First, he makes one argument, then he makes a contradicting argument, then he makes the first argument again, then he contradicts it again. He's just going back and forth.
I mean, I want to hear
if
about
you're
the
not
force that
satisfied
makes
with me,
steam go up.
can I
Like, what the hell
say
is that?
the entire argument
Are
from
you
start to
serious,
finish, this time everything right?
My
Can I
friend,
say
my
my
friend,
argument
my friend.
again
Do
from
you
start to finish? Right.
understand
What
that
he's
you are
doing, Chocolate,
destroying your
stop.
entire argument?
What he's doing is he's ignoring every single word that's said. Partway through what you say, he starts talking. And then when you finish, he'll stop for a second and then reassert his position. He's doing it right now.
You are doing the same thing to me, Nathan.
And then he's going to project what he's doing directly onto me when I point it out to my audience. So I'm going to point out what he's doing, and then he's going to claim I'm doing that to him. No.
Never seen that before.
So you didn't listen to a word Chocolate said. You haven't listened to a word I've said, because I've had to repeat it 3 times with you telling me the atmosphere. Then QE pointed it out to you, and you completely ignored it and said, yeah, but what the atmosphere does, you are what's known as a fundamentalist religious zealot. You chanting your fundy belief at us. And it doesn't matter what we say. You still believe atmosphere. So it doesn't matter that we point out that air doesn't take the shape of a sphere, takes the shape of its container. You won't repeat it back to us or acknowledge it in any way. You will chant through the top of us saying it, ignore it, and then move on to whatever you want to assert afterwards. Because you're a fundy with a globe belief. That's what fundies do. Retro Bill from the Super Chat says, what is the consensus on this bollocks? Shout out to Retro Bill.
How does it feel to be standing in direct contradiction with the second law of thermodynamics and all the gas laws and Brownian motion, by the way?
And reality.
There's
feel?
nothing contradicting.
I
With
never
nothing.
felt that before.
There's
How does
nothing
that feel?
contradicting.
I don't think he got that far yet. He's still in the middle of contradicting himself as he is trying to make a point.
Yeah, bro, maybe you should have a debate with yourself whether gas actually goes up or down, because you've said both.
With that, I'll say if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams, stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So a huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G+ Pals for making today's live show possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of you for smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, or joining as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member. Also, below this video, you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy. Once again, stay tuned if you're watching on either Premiering stream. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day! Time. All of a sudden,
Like,
he's
dude,
back.
are you here? Is he here? Do you know how many times you contradicted yourself? I don't even know what the guy's name is. What's his name?
Yeah, whoever this guy is,
I don't care.
Whoever this guy is, he kept chanting, as we all heard, he kept repeating. So he's unable or unwilling to give up his belief when faced with logic, which he held both sides of one position. This is a very dangerous place for someone to be, because they can never find truth, because they're more interested in their beliefs that are being broken down and debated, and they can't answer it. So they take both sides and they never get out, because his belief is more important than the logic and the search for the truth.
Yes, it's the same guy that says lay down and then stand up. And that's a scientific experiment. You don't recognize his voice?
Of course it is.
He wasn't just denying.
Go on, John.
Okay, he's back, Chocolate. You can have him. He's back.
Hold on. Just go ahead, John.
I was just going to say he wasn't just denying logic. He was denying observation by gas going upwards. Let's deny what we see.
I just thought of something. I have to ask the question, and I was going to ask it back when it came up, but I need to ask it. I have to ask it now. If they know the cause of gravity is the bendy space-time, why are they looking for a particle?
No, the thing is that it is still studied today why gravity is a thing. Why
Gravity
gravity
doesn't
is
exist.
caused. It isn't a
Scientifically validated.
defined thing today.
Let's just
Excuse me?
because he can't get out of gravity. Because he can't get out of gravity, have him scientifically validate it.
Did you hear what he just said? They're still.
So if you know
They're
the
studying
cause of
why
gravity
it is a
is
thing.
space-time, why are you looking for a particle? It's like looking for your keys under a lamp, but it's out in the dark somewhere. Sorry, of course I get loud here.
I mean,
Yeah. What gravity are you
two
talking
things.
about, and then scientifically validate it?
I mean, two things.
Uh-oh.
There is no solid reason for gravity right now. There are really lots of theories, One is the curvature of space-time. Other is there's a particle such as in the other events like
Bro, you just told us there's no reason for gravity right now?
electromagnetism or something.
No. They're
And
still
there are
in the
other
middle of
theories
trying
too.
to figure
I mean,
out why
those are the
it's there.
one that I know.
No, there's no solid reason, Chocolate.
Oh, no solid. Thank you for clearing that up. Appreciate it.
No, you can't scientifically validate gravity. Oh, by the way, we can give you all the gravity you want. Newtonian, Reverend John Michelle, all of Einstein's bendy space-time. It's not going to affect the entropy of gases one iota.
Yeah, and I didn't say that it will affect. I just stated that at the beginning, and that's it.
No, you started that sentence with "yeah," right? He told you even if you had gravity, even if it existed, all of it, every type of gravity you wanted would not affect gas at all. Your first statement is "yeah."
Why is
Get
he
that?
hang on.
Well, if I said that I don't recall, that is completely wrong. Gas affects gas. Sorry, gravity affects gas.
Gravity doesn't exist.
Sir, you said that there is no solid reason for gravity right now, and yet you are quoting Archimedes improperly as Adam called you out. You're defending something that you just said there's no solid reason to believe in. How are you doing this?
I mean, you took that out of context. Gravity is a thing that we can see. We can see things fall down. If I take this pencil and I throw it, it will go down. It's a thing that we can observe. But there's other thing that the scientists are still studying today. What is the solid cause of gravity?
Are in
Why that happens?
violation of the second law.
But it happens. It's a thing that we can see. It's really it's
Right,
a
let
thing
me
that
just
we
ask
can
you a
see.
question.
Therefore,
Hang
if
on,
you don't
Anthony.
believe in it,
Let
it's
me finish,
because you're
Anthony,
dumb.
and then you got it. Listen. You just said we see something falling down, and then you also said there's no solid reason that it's gravity.
No. There is a solid reason, but we are investigating what is that solid reason. We have lots of
Oh, so
theories.
you don't have
The mass
one yet,
attracting mass,
then.
the vector space-time, and
So
there
then you don't
are
know why it's
scientists
falling down.
formulating a particle, and that's it.
So you don't know why it's falling down. You're guessing.
Anyone.
Let me ask him a question. He doesn't
Anybody
know. He
knows
clearly
why
doesn't
it's
know.
falling down. Anybody.
Dude, let me ask you a question. If we could turn gravity on or off, or we could exaggerate it or minimize it, can you tell us what the effect would be that we would perceive or see or do, whatever?
Yes, of course. I mean, if you can express the interaction between two bodies because of gravity by a normal force, like you put an arrow, the longer the arrow, the stronger the force, the smaller the arrow, the weaker the force. It's easy. So if the gravity goes up, then those forces will be stronger, and if you pull gravity down, they will be weaker. I'm using force.
Do you understand when
one
people are
thing.
talking to you, bro? Stop talking when you're asked a question.
Right.
It's getting really fucking annoying.
Answer the question I asked you, and I'll ask it again, and I want you to answer the question I ask. If we could turn gravity on and off, or amplify it or minimize it, what would the effect be, please?
I answered that. The
force
between the the acceleration, apparent or real, it doesn't matter. The acceleration that it is applied to a body in order to be attractive to another one will
There's
be
no
less,
acceleration applied to a
will
body
be
in
bigger
science today
or
according to
smaller.
gravity.
Can you repeat, please?
There is no acceleration applied to a body in science today by gravity. It is defined as an effect. So something's being applied to the object, and the object is now accelerating, and that something needs to be a force according to Newtonian classical physics. So can you tell me what force it is? Because you don't understand what gravity is.
And how does a particle impart a force? Just a single particle.
What can you repeat? Well, who should I answer first?
Answer me. So I asked you if we could exaggerate or dilute gravity, or we could turn it on and turn it off, what would the effect be? And you said a force. And gravity isn't a force, it's an effect. But we need a force to make a mass accelerate. Do you accept that gravity is not a force, or do you dispute that?
Yeah, the thing that I wanted to say at the end is that I use force not I use force not because gravity is a force, but I don't know how to explain it.
It's to shoehorn it into your religion because the evidence doesn't support your position.
I don't know if I... Can you repeat?
What you're doing is you're making gravity from an effect into a force to shoehorn it into your religion because you can't accept that matter accelerates without a force, because it can't. You need a force, so you're making it into a force when it's an effect.
You think he's going to understand shoehorn?
You're making the effect back into a force, and it's not.
I'll be back in a minute. 1 second.
All these wigs on the floor right now. It's terrible.
Pound says when he comes back, he ignores every word.
I'm back. I'm back.
Go ahead.
I'm back. So the thing
That's
that
a
was
good
trying
bet.
to say.
Hold on, Anthony. Hold on.
I'm using the word force as a. Yeah,
Go
sorry.
ahead, Coppo.
Okay, so for a really short thing, I use the word force as a covenant. I don't know if that's the word. I'm not saying that gravity is a force. I'm saying that there's an effect applied to something and it makes it move. I don't know if I express myself well.
Apply to something, don't make things move. You need a force to apply to something to make it move. It's in the definition of F equals ma. You can't make something move with an effect because the effect is the movement, right? So you can't make something move with an effect.
Yeah, well, I said this before. The gravity is an effect of mass, and that makes things with mass get weight, and that weight that is a force
it doesn't
makes
do that.
things go down.
Okay, so steam has mass.
Yeah, sure.
So steam goes down.
No, but that's because...
So that pisses on your bonfire. Steam has mass. You assert if it's got mass, it'll attract to other mass. Well, you've got a mass of Earth, M1. You've got the mass of steam, M2. And they're not going towards each other, nor is any other gas. They're all made at ground level and go up. So that's the end of your argument.
No, it isn't, because there's mass, but there's very little mass, and that makes the force, not force, but you know what I'm saying.
You're saying that when you've got a little bit of mass, it does the complete opposite and goes in the other direction and goes up away.
Yeah, and...
Well, that makes no fucking sense when you've said M1 attracts to M2.
Of course it doesn't make sense.
Well, that's because it's nonsense.
But you said it.
You're the one saying
you
it.
Said it.
And that's why you don't understand.
Wow.
Because I can't...
Sorry, I don't understand. I don't understand.
I'm good on this.
Now we don't understand. Wow.
Okay. Can I explain? Just give me 5 minutes of silence and I will explain you truthfully, and then it will make sense. Thanks. So, the steam goes up having mass because of the Archimedes principle that makes that steam go up.
You circle jerking fundy asshole. So you're literally going to chant your exact same claim that we've taken apart 5 times.
And he's taken apart like 8.
There's no gas being forced down.
What's the problem you have?
I'm telling you.
What's your problem?
The gas isn't going down. Go boom boom.
But the gas goes down when it reaches a point.
Which gas? Which gas?
The steam.
Steam goes down. Go boom boom.
Yeah, sure, but
no, you complete idiot globe believer. You think clouds go down, go boom boom? It's created at ground level.
They are less
hello.
dense. They are
you
less
asked,
dense
and now you're talking
than
through me.
they are
You
at ground
scum.
level,
You scum
Nathan.
fundy. You scum chanting fundy. No, mate. That's not how the water
Clouds
cycle.
don't go
Hello,
down
you
because
scummy,
they are
globe-believing, fundy
as
chanter.
they are
You're
not
going to
in the
chant
same
through
state,
me.
and
It's the
the
conclusion, you
that
chanty
is on the
fundy.
ground. You are chanting over me. I can't.
Oh, right. So the conclusion comes when you say gas goes down, and I say fundamentally no, and start explaining it, and you start talking through me. You think that's me talking through you? No, it's the conclusion that you're going to circle jerk back to in 5 minutes, having talked through the conclusion that I'm giving now, and claiming I'm talking
Nathan,
through you. No.
Nathan, the structure of our conversation is you ask a question, I'm responding at, and the middle of you start.
Shut the fuck up, you stupid globe-believing idiot. That is not what the water cycle does. The gas does not go down, go boom boom.
It goes that. I mean.
You hear me, you stuttering idiot? No, it does not. It starts at ground level and goes up. You needed to go down. Now you've descended into interrupting me, projecting that interruption onto me, and then stuttering like the clown you are.
And why is there more oxygen?
Don't ask me something. That is not what the water cycle does.
Okay, I'm going to pose my question as a statement.
It's not a question. I've just stated something as fact. The gas is going up.
But then we need to reach a point in which the state of the Archimedes principle is stable. Therefore, there's something less dense over it and more dense down that gas. Then the gravity applies and it pulls it down. But
gravity
because
can't
when
apply.
it pulls it down,
Dude,
sorry, you just described how if it gets more dense, it gets pushed down. That would be density that you're describing. But then you superimpose gravity on top of your explanation with density. Why would you superimpose this gravity that's not a force as somehow causing this when you've already described the effect with density? So something that's not a force is going to be part of this equation. Something that's not validated and we don't know how it works is going to be part of this equation. After you've described what happens with density, why would you superimpose this not force into this description?
Do you understand that there can be...
You're going to ask me why I don't understand something, or you're going to explain why you've superimposed a not actual force into a description that already came in the form of how the density will affect it.
Because it's physically possible. There's you can apply 2 or more forces to the same body.
Well, gravity's not one of them. It's not a force. So I'm asking for the 3rd time why you're superimposing a not actual force onto your explanation and then going on to answer me about how forces work. Gravity isn't one of them. 4th time, why are you superimposing a not actual force into your explanation about the density? 4th time.
I mean, that is a word game. I'm just saying.
Yeah, you're stuttering like a bitch.
It isn't a force. It is an effector. However,
so it's not a force. So why are you superimposing gravity into this if it's not a force? It's not going to do anything.
Because you can. For example, you can.
What, stutter like a fundamentalist religious zealot that's got to superimpose his fundamentalist religious belief in gravity, which he doesn't really know what it is, into this explanation? Yeah, I know. It's going to cause a lot of stuttering.
The thing that I was trying to say is that you can apply whatever at the same time to a body. In this case is weight and Archimedes principle and the gravity. In other cases may be a change of temperature, a chemical reaction, and whatever. But you can apply those things at the same time and there's no problem.
I
And
see. Wait.
This is the case.
I see. We heard. Thank you. Wait. How'd you weigh a gas?
What?
How do
you are in violation again a number of times the second law of thermodynamics in the least? You're finished.
Can you tell me exactly how the Archimedes principle is a thermodynamical principle?
Not your argument. Archimedes principle has to do. The second law trumps everything. You're finished.
The second law of thermodynamics only applies to thermodynamic processes. And the Archimedes principle...
I thought you were going to say it doesn't apply to the Earth.
Would
it
okay? Would
only
the sorry?
only
Would the,
applies
sorry?
to
Would the
thermodynamic
sorry? Excuse me.
processes.
Hello. Would the
Hello?
expansion? Excuse me. Excuse me. Would the expansion of gas into an availability of volume be a thermodynamic process?
Let me check. I'm not really. I mean,
You're not sure whether or not high pressure to low pressure is a thermodynamic process?
I mean, yeah, but we're
Yeah. So the expansion of gas into a volume, space being that volume, would be a thermodynamic process. So the second law definitely applies here then.
we're not talking about a high pressure going to low pressure. We're talking about Archimedes' principle.
Oh, so we're not talking about high pressure going to low pressure. So we're not talking about the high pressure gas we breathe filling the availability of your space vacuum that you think is the sky. That's absolutely what we're talking about.
Oh, no. That's other thing.
Oh, it's another thing, something that you'd rather not talk about. The main thing that we're talking about when we talk about gas not going down, go boom, boom, the effects of entropy, the second law of thermodynamics, we're not talking about high pressure gas expanding into your fundy sky vacuum belief. That's just another thing, is it?
I could have sworn that was the whole reason you're telling us gas goes down.
The gas is moving
What's
because
the
of
matter with
the
you?
pressure.
No, Chocolate, what he's got to do is skirt away from the actual reality of the argument and just have an indefinite argument about nonsensical nonsense, so he doesn't have to face up to the fact that that is precisely why we're having this argument. Because if the sky was a vacuum, a thermodynamic process would take place. That would be the high pressure gas we breathe would fill it. That would be the second law of thermodynamics. That would be an entropy increase. But what? That's not what we're talking about. No, it's what you're trying to get away from because you live in a fantasy world where the sky is a vacuum. So you may not want to be that conversation, but it is.
We're not talking about pressure. We're talking about...
Oh, really? We're not talking about high pressure gas we breathe? That's not us talking about pressure. No, it's you trying to get away from us talking about pressure by talking about Archimedes' principle. That's what it is. It's you trying to take us away from the annihilation of your sky vacuum belief. So while you can tell us it's not what we're talking about, it is most definitely what we are talking about.
We are talking about Archimedes' principle. Am I right?
Oh, really? That's what you were talking about when we asked why the sky wouldn't be filled by the gas pressure we're breathing. You said Archimedes' principle was the reason. But apparently the actual conversation isn't how the sky is in a vacuum. The actual topic of conversation we brought up here on Flat Earth Debate, where we debunk the sky vacuum NASA use, is actually a conversation purely about Archimedes' principle, is it? No. It's about how you haven't got a sky vacuum. Try and keep up, you fundy in denial.
But part of the
Why
sky
did
vacuum
you bring
is
up
caused
magnets at the beginning? Why did you say
and
magnets?
then
there?
gravity.
Yeah. Why did you bring up magnets, you lying sack of shit? It's because he's only here to skirt the audience's attention away from the fact the sky isn't a vacuum. And the reason he was talking about magnets was because he was claiming that the gas wouldn't fill the space, because like magnets, the gas would be LD with gravity, which isn't a force. Now he's lying and saying, no, this conversation's actually purely about Archimedes' principle. No, it isn't, you lying sack of shit. And now you're going to talk through me like the coward you are. Maybe claim I'm talking through you, coward. Well, I point out that that is definitely the conversation. And either you're here as an agent provocateur to deliberately obfuscate away from the fact that the sky is not a vacuum, or you're a complete idiot who can't concentrate and keep up with what we're actually talking about. Because you've literally just told us that this is a conversation about Archimedes' principle as opposed to the fake space sky vacuum you're now interrupting again.
When I was talking and you said that the pressure, I was talking about Archimedes' principle. That was the...
You just said we weren't talking about pressure a minute ago. You said specifically we weren't talking about pressure, but when you were talking about Archimedes' principle, you were talking about pressure then. So what the fuck? You're just a demented idiot that can't concentrate on one thing that you're saying preceding the next thing that you say.
I was talking about Archimedes' principle. Then...
No, you were talking about the gas that would be filling the sky vacuum.
About Archimedes' principle.
No, the sky vacuum that's fake, and your justification was Archimedes' principle.
Yes, I was talking. I mean, you can...
About the sky vacuum you said you didn't realise we were talking about because you thought we were talking about Archimedes' principle, in defence of your fake sky vacuum that somehow you didn't realise we were talking about, you lying piece of shit.
I was talking about Archimedes' principle.
Yeah, and we were talking about the sky vacuum. That's why you were talking about Archimedes' principle. And yet it's just here to be talked about to distract from the fact the sky is not a vacuum. In reality, you need to make the conversation actually be about Archimedes' principle. That's what you're here to do, isn't it?
I mean, Archimedes' principle is
Yeah, that's what you're here to do. Make the argument about Archimedes' principle rather than about how the sky vacuum's fake because gas would fill it. And your defense to start that process off of making the conversation about Archimedes' principle is to use Archimedes' principle in defense of the fake space that's called a sky vacuum in your fundy belief. And then later claim you didn't even realise we were talking about that because that's the last thing we need to be talking about, isn't it? How fake space is.
He's talking to you.
Oh, he's talking through me when I point out that space is fake because he'd much prefer we argued about Archimedes' principle. He's made that absolutely clear. And when I talk about fake space and how the gas would fill it, he'll tell us that he didn't realise that was a conversation. He was only here to talk about Archimedes' principle.
No, Nathan, you...
Yeah, you've just told us that. That's what you've told us, you lying sack of shit.
Why did you bring up Archimedes' principle then?
Yeah, I bring up Archimedes' principle, but this conversation...
No, he didn't say to confirm that you brought it up, you piece of shit lying bastard. He asked you why you brought it up. Not for you to confirm that you brought it up so you could start talking about it again, weaseling your way away from the fake space sky vacuum that the gas we breathe would fill. Yeah, you brought up Archimedes' principle. He asked you why.
Why? Because it's an essential thing. Well, you bring up the steam thing. Why does the steam
It's essential for what?
And I
Essential
started
for what?
explaining the Archimedes principle because that's the reason. Because steam goes up. That's it.
Dude, you're really annoying. What
So steam goes up.
Archimedes? What is it
But
essential
he said
for?
the steam goes down.
Steam goes up because it's.
Yeah, but you said first that it's going down. I heard you.
Yes, because then it goes.
Yes, so I said steam goes down. Now I'm saying steam goes up because my only purpose in being here is to obfuscate the conversation away from how fake space is and make it a conversation that's totally confusing, no one can focus on, and no one gets educated on how fake space is. That's what he's here for.
The thing I was trying to say, and apparently you didn't get it at all, is that first the steam goes up because it's hotter than the other surrounding it. Therefore, it will go up. It's a basic gas things, and then because of the Archimedes principle, it will go on a layer in which above it will be gas with less density, and below it there will be gas with more density, and then gravity.
I am tired of hearing this guy.
Yeah, he's just here to chant it. He's just chanted the exact same thing. And when I got to the point last time when I asked him why he's described how the density will increase, forcing it down after it's gone up, made its way up from ground level, why would he superimpose a gravity force that isn't a force on top of that? And that's where the obfuscation began last time. We're going quicker in these circles. You've superimposed an actual force onto your description of density. And the reason you've done it is to get around the fact that we haven't got a sky vacuum. The gas would fill the space. So you're trying to make the gas go down, go boom, boom.
I mean, gravity doesn't mean that things go down. It means that it pulls things down. But if there's a force pulling it up,
No. Jesus, bro.
I can't even believe
my friend, you are killing yourself here, man. I don't know why you're doing this to yourself. It's really
You just
insane.
snatched your own wig off, dude. Of course, you did it about
Definitely.
35 times already.
Because he's trying to confuse the other guy that was here. He comes in to cause confusion.
The other guy represents the audience. The audience has heard a guy come in and go, why is space fake? I've got NASA pictures. We've said, no, you haven't. The place is fake. So he's gone, all right, well, why? I've got no reason to believe it's fake. We've said it stands in violation of natural law. The gas would fill the space. So this guy comes along, quick, let's make this conversation about something that's nothing to do with that quickly and confuse everybody listening so that they do think there's an argument to be had. And talk about gravity. Don't talk about entropy increase. Specifically talk about a not actual force of gravity and argue about that. And then when we remind you that the whole point of this argument is that space is fake, gas would fill it, and QE's point that not one iota of Einsteinian or pseudo-force space or mass attracting mass is going to have any effect on entropy, Literally, after that's been pointed out, he'll say, I didn't realise we were talking about that, and stutter his way around the fact he's obfuscating his argument away from fake space the entire time.
Amazing.
Okay, so let me answer you really, really quick. The gas, when it is...
I didn't ask you anything, you fuckwit globetard. Space is fake. Shut up and listen to my statement of fact that is absolutely not going to have a question mark at the end of it. Outer space is fake. It violates the second law of thermodynamics. Now, there is no rebuttal in regards to gravity. It's not a force. So I don't need to hear anything from you. I've made a statement of fact. Gravity's not going to hold gas here. It's not a force. Entropy, that would be high pressure, the gas we're breathing, to the low pressure claimed to be a sky vacuum, violates that claim. End of argument. No response required.
Yep.
That's
Can I
right.
ask you a little question?
Case closed. There's
Can I
no
ask you a little
question.
question? Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
Okay, so if there's no space, what?
That's the end of that question. That's right, there is no space. Who gives a flying fuck what your next words were? There is no space. That's right, fundy fuckwit. Now ask me about what about now there's no space. Now you can share your pain. Yeah? Because your belief is there is space, so don't ask me about what happens beyond that, because I've just pissed all over your space belief. Couldn't give a crap what your question is, but nice to know you realise that there's problems thereafter. Yeah, if there's no space, that's right, there isn't space.
If there's no space... Then...
Yeah, there isn't any, that's correct. It violates natural law.
If there's no space...
Then there's no space. You haven't got pictures from there. No NASA. What about a concession in regards to the pictures if there's no space?
But if there's no space...
Then there's no pictures from NASA. You want to address that?
I don't mind. Where is the moon?
Sorry, if there's no space, that's the main topic of conversation, then there's no pictures from NASA. You want to address that?
No, I'm asking...
So you only want to ask me about if there's no space? So you can only ask me about what happens now there's no space? No, I didn't have a belief of in space. You did. So... now there's no space. What about them NASA pictures?
What is a pitch?
So you're only going to ask me about the problems that are the relinquishment of your fundy belief in space. I didn't have a belief in space, so now it's gone. It makes no difference to me. There's no questions to ask me. I didn't believe in this area. It's you that's lost it. So now your religious belief in space is no more. What about those NASA pictures?
Two things. I believe in space. Don't.
Well, it's a violation of the second law of thermodynamics. You've not in any way addressed that beyond your assertion of a not actual force called gravity that won't be holding gas here. So no, space definitely still isn't real regardless of your belief, and we're not that interested in what you believe in, especially when it violates natural law. However, now that we've pointed out that the space you believe in only, it's just a belief, yeah? Your belief area hasn't got pictures from it. It's not real. Now that space isn't real, you don't have NASA pictures. What have you got to say to that?
If there's no space, then where is the moon?
Sorry, if there's no space, there's no NASA pictures. That doesn't mean the moon isn't real. I'm asking you, given that the only place that's claimed to have these pictures of Earth as a sphere is from a sky vacuum. Now, I don't say the moon was in a sky vacuum, so it makes no difference to what the moon is. It definitely makes a difference to whether or not we got pictures from space. And that's what I'm asking you, given it's your space you've just lost, not mine.
So if the moon is not in a...
Sorry, don't ask me about the moon. It was never in a sky vacuum for me. It's not me that's lost the sky vacuum, it's you. And the only thing that was being punted from the sky vacuum is your pictures from NASA. Not the moon. I didn't say it was in a vacuum, so don't straw man me. It not being in a vacuum for you now doesn't affect me. That's the third time I've said this. You're going to keep banging this straw man? No
if
pictures
it
from
isn't
space.
on a vacuum, that's the thing that you said. Where is it? If it's...
Sorry, I don't need to answer any questions about the space that you thought was space with pictures coming from it. I didn't make any claims about it. You think pictures come from there. That's the fifth time, coward.
Nathan, can she tell us where is the moon?
Who cares? Shut up, Sasha. No, the moon is
Where is the
irrelevant,
moon?
right? The moon is irrelevant. The moon is
Where is the
irrelevant,
moon?
right? The area,
No, it isn't the airline.
the area that
It
the
isn't
moon
the
resides in, I don't care what it is. Now, I'm not claiming it used to be in a vacuum, suddenly there's a problem, now it isn't. He claimed it was in a vacuum, so that's a problem for him, that he needs to get around here. I don't know why he's asking me, other than I know he's trying to reverse the burden here and build a little straw man.
Yeah, but NASA,
Excuse me.
NASA is telling that it's not anymore in vacuum.
Yeah, that's my point,
What?
Sasha, that I'm trying to keep on track with. When I ask him about now that
Okay,
he's
sorry.
lost his vacuum, what about the pictures that were claimed to come from the vacuum? It's not my vacuum. I don't need to explain anything now. It's gone away. But he was the one with a belief in it. He's made that clear. He believes that there's a sky vacuum, and he's told to believe that pictures come from there. That's a big problem. I'm asking him to explain that, and I'm not allowing him to reverse the burden of proof. Not my problem, his.
Sorry, I didn't understand you from the first time. What is a pitch?
What is what?
No, yeah, like a vocabulary question.
A what?
He's being a wise ass,
No,
Nathan.
No,
Sorry,
what is a pitch? No, it's
you
because I
started
don't know.
posing questions to me about if space is fake, if space isn't real, if there is no space sky vacuum. And I don't know why you're asking me. I never had that as a belief. So I immediately started to do that to you, and then we get stuff like this where you interrupt. So I then repositioned the fact that I don't have a sky vacuum belief, so not having it there and it being in violation of law isn't something you need to quiz me on. But ultimately, you definitely have declared to my audience you do believe in that shit. So I'm asking, given you believe in that shit, what's going to happen about those pictures from that fake place that doesn't exist? NASA pictures. Maybe ask me about the moon again, you total coward.
No. I just wanted to ask. I'm not.
Not answer then. So not a question that's going to come your way with an answer, just a new question for me, given that I've asked this question about space that's not real anymore. You were all keen to ask me about that. It's not my problem. That's 6 times. The problem comes when you've got people claiming that your belief area, that vacuum we violate with natural law, so it's not a real place, it's just your belief, that belief area's got pictures claimed to come from there 7 times, coward.
No, but what is a pitch? I don't understand that word.
Oh, new topic, new vocabulary question, you abject coward.
It sounds like you running away, brother.
He never said
No. Sorry, I don't understand that word.
Do you understand
just that
what NASA does? They claim to take pictures from a sky vacuum that stands in violation of natural law. Your rebuttal was annihilated. Is that too big of a word? It means taken to pieces, undone, because you don't have a force to hold gas here. So your sky vacuum's fake, your sky vacuum, not mine to quiz me on. And given your sky vacuum that you declare you believe in is fake, you're going to be damn sure to chant through my question about NASA's fake pictures from your fake place that you believe in. 8 times.
But peach, like the fruit, the peach. I'm not joking. I'm saying this for real. But what is a peach?
Are you joking, man?
It's
no,
a fruit.
No, I'm not joking.
Yeah, he's just trying to get someone to bite on this fruit. He's trying to get you to bite on it, whoever just answered him. And it's worked. No, mate. You are a coward obfuscating away from the question about the fake pictures from NASA. You are an abject coward.
What is a fake peach?
Stop
making things up.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
He's
you're a
making
dumbass.
things up, Nathan.
Dumbass.
He's making things up.
Yo, dumbass. A fake place called space. Violation of natural law. Second law of thermodynamics violation. That fake place you believe in. You can't take pictures from a fake place. I asked 8 times what you've got to say given that you believe in this fake place that NASA claims to take pictures from. They don't.
So I don't understand what is a pitch because English.
Fuck off, you dumb spastic globe believer. You are merely here to obfuscate away from 9 renditions of the fact I will now state to you. There are no pictures. Oh, you're going to chant through me, coward? Bitch?
How can I respond?
You're going to chant through me, bitch? At the time I declare I'm going to make the conclusion? Yeah, bitch. Your space is fake. Gas would fill it, we'd all be dead. Therefore, all pictures NASA claim to take from that fake place that you don't seem to want to comment on are also fake. There are no pictures from space. It's a violation of natural law. No response required.
Yeah, that's totally right. There are
Yeah,
not
bye-bye
pitch
now.
trees in space.
So
because
shut up.
If there were pitchy
So
trees
shut up.
in space,
So shut
there would
up.
be some water.
So shut up.
And pitches,
So shut
they-
your
they are not
mouth.
from space.
So what
Yeah,
part of
yeah,
shut your
you're
mouth
right.
don't you understand? What part of shut your mouth don't you understand? You're not required anymore,
No.
Popo. Shut up.
I mean, but
Did you hear what he
is a
just
pitch?
said,
Yeah,
Nathan?
really.
He's be quiet, Spaniard. He's saying that there's no peach in space because then that would mean there'd have to be watering a tree in space to have a peach. Look how far he's gone away from his contradictions. He's got to make up stuff.
Did he say that? Nah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm joking. Come on, I'm saying that. What is?
Yeah, you're obfuscating away with a joke. I ask you about the fake pictures from space. You make a little joke because you're a coward.
What is a fake pitch?
Yeah, you're going to make the same joke again. What about the fake pictures from a fake place you believe in? Never going to get an answer. It's been asked 11 times. All you're going to focus on is your new joke obfuscation tactic. See how many hooks you can get in someone else to help you along with this joke rather than addressing the point. You haven't got any pictures from space. 12 times, coward.
But what is a fake pitch?
Maybe ask a new question of me about a new joke you're going to ask. 13 times. You haven't got any pictures from a fake place called space, coward.
I don't understand what is a.
Oh, you don't understand? Suddenly it's played dumb. Well, let me explain to you. You just need to shut up while I do so, but I can be pretty damn sure that you're going to interrupt while I explain that if the sky was a vacuum, the gas we breathe would fill the space. Ergo, there is no sky vacuum, and it's claimed that NASA's pictures come from that sky vacuum, a fake place called space. 13
What
times.
is a fake? English is not my primary language.
Well, then fuck off to whatever language you're from and don't come back, you stupid spastic. Yeah, if you can't understand me when I get to the 13th rendition of the same question, then you are obviously a coward. Obviously claiming, oh, no, me speak English. Yeah, fuck off.
After coming here with Archimedes principle, now you want to be like, I don't speak English, bro. Well, come on, bro.
I need to answer about how NASA isn't real. I don't speak English no more.
Yeah, that's pretty pathetic, man. Come on. You've been in here debating us about gravity, Archimedes principle this whole time, and now I don't speak English well? Come on, man.
He wants a cobbler.
English.
That's the saddest
Third
cop out
language,
I've
but I
heard yet.
understood you, Nathan, very well. I also don't speak very well English, but I understood that you cannot have vacuum near to the low pressure, to the high pressure.
It's English very well.
And I understood that that place is fake. And my English is third language. How is possible that I understood that? And you are speaking better English than me.
Because he's an Agent Smith.
What is Archimedes' principle?
Principle is this: how you can have something what is not scientifically proven that you say that it exists. Blah blah blah.
Adam came on and told him it had to apply with liquids, not gases, and he wouldn't have any of it. And he kept talking about Archimedes after that.
What is that, though?
Some kind of principle that has to do with liquids.
Let me answer you. It's called an obfuscation tactic.
Okay. No, I knew that, but I just wanted to get clarity on what it was.
It's just fluid displacement. It's a study of fluid displacement. But he's talking about gas, and he wanted to use it here, and Adam shut him down real quick at the beginning.
Yep. And for that, you'd have to have a volume. And they have no volume of gas. Gases have no volume.
Is Archimedes the guy who shouted Eureka?
Yeah, when he got into the bath and the water rose.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Is that the story?
Would that be like?
Yes.
Would that be like balls in a ball pit? Would that be the same sort of a thing?
I don't know about how many bouncy balls being displaced, but you could probably get a measure of something jumping into a bouncy ball pit. I don't know if it would make me shout Eureka.
Yeah, but if it increased the pressure when you jumped into your gas pressure and your presence increased the pressure, then you'd be like, I wonder why that's happened. Was it me that got into it that caused it? Or was it a formula?
Meanwhile, gas expands to fill the availability of volume. If the sky was a vacuum, the gas we breathe would fill the space. Meanwhile, let's talk about Archimedes. Why not? Well, because it doesn't address the question. It doesn't address the problem, rather.
Meanwhile, back at the ranch.
Well, he said at one point, and Chocolate immediately laughed his head off. He said, yeah, there's a force pushing it up.
Yeah, the force that makes steam go up. That was great. I was like, wow,
yeah.
What force is that?
Yeah, Chocolate, you're so rude, God.
But it's also being pulled down at the same time. So it's going in all directions and it's being pulled down at the same time. So where's it going?
Nah, the best was when he told Anthony, oh yeah, it's because of the density. And then I laughed again. And then he was like, oh, but no, not the density, the gravity. Oh, yeah. And then like 10 minutes later, he said it again. Density again? Huh.
So I said, yeah, not the gravity then. And he said, no, yeah, gravity, density, yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
So we got to go through it again?
For a
more
hours. It was exhausting enough as it was. I was going to say, the first 15 times were exhausting enough. To summarise it after the fact. We can if we want to, but I'd prefer not.
Well, did anyone get a chance to ask him how he measured the M2 value and his mass attracts mass crap?
No, he didn't get there. I was hoping it would edge there, but he was determined to keep in the circle fundy jerk.
Did you ask him what mass was?
Again, that I was poised, but no.
Anybody ask him the level of gravitation in an average black hole? I mean, how is that relevant to anything?
No, that slipped my mind.
Asked him how much T is in China?
There is no T in China because it's CH.
What I would comment on is like that there are certain characters that have that MO. Don't make the conversation about gas filling the sky vacuum and how fake it is. Make the conversation about something else.
Well, that's the best way to get out of the conversation is not have it in the first place.
Nah, he wasn't smart enough to do that. He was actually committed to Archimedes.
Nathan, I wanted to ask you a question about something off this topic.
I'm in the other room. Go on. Go ahead.
Yeah, there was that video recently where you debated that guy who was talking about the weapons of mass destruction. Like, I really, really like that video, and I like the way you attacked it. Is that the type of like attack that you chose there, like that debating style? Is there a name for that so I can study that, because it's really effective? And if there's like a type of a style or something, like if that's like defined, that tactic he took, I want to learn about it.
Well, it was.
If there is such a
you'd be better off asking QE as he's here, because what was being employed then was something that I didn't expect to happen. So, I'll just explain it how it was explained to me by Quantum Eraser. Feel free to pipe up at any point, QE. So, the way it was explained to me was, now you've got a good understanding of what these globetards will do in argument. It's totally translatable to any other subject. The example being evolution, right? So, for whatever reason, I was saying, oh, we never have a denying the antecedent fallacy come up. It's like, yeah, but if you ever got into a debate with an evotard, everything you've learned would just be directly applicable. You'd hear them make a claim, you'd hear the fallacy being constructed, and you'd just call them on it. It wouldn't matter what the subject was. So I didn't necessarily know that the next time that would happen, it would be someone coming in claiming weapons of mass destruction. I've actually got no interest in the subject, like none. But I just heard a claim, and then fallacious reasoning attached to the claim, and just went through the motions. It didn't matter if I was saying, prove a sky vacuum, or prove your claim of WMD. It doesn't matter. It's purely, I hear a claim and say, well, what have you got to back it?
Also, Nathan was applying the reification fallacy, which is like applying a concept or a model as though it's real world. And this guy was saying, well, you can model out, I can't remember the topic of discussion at the time, but I remember him saying that you can model this stuff out. And I was like, yeah, so basically all he's doing is applying the principle of reification to that topic.
Okay. Also, like I was thinking, like in the realms of this thinking is that he said like he's making a positive claim. Okay, so that's something I hear from you guys a lot is a positive claim, and then he had no way to verify his positive claim. So that's like the premise you attacked, right? Now,
Exactly.
Is that a style of debating? Is that like have a formal name?
No, that's to do with the burden of proof. So the one that makes the claim, and it's got to be the positive claim, not the negative claim, is the one that's got to prove it. So what they'll often do is say, well, you can't prove gravity does not exist. Well, that's trying to prove the negative claim, and you can't do that. So that's why you put the word positive in there, because that is the burden. That's who's got to prove what. Well, we can't prove the negative because you've got to prove the positive first. So it's just to stop them from reversing that.
In terms of debate, it's a weird one, because if you try and structure what we do here into a proper formal debate, technically speaking, the debate for the Globers would be lost within the first couple of sentences, because they'd have to establish their position metaphorically on the title of the podium. So, for example, the claim that Earth spins, right? Then they'd have on their podium, we claim there's Coriolis effect. In other words, they're cementing their positive assertion. So the debate would be structured as such. Who is making the positive assertion and who is opposing it? And what is the positive assertion that's being debated about? Well, the positive assertion is Coriolis effect. Great. So as soon as you enter into an official debate structure in that regard, they've lost because they've asserted it and actually got it as the claim on the podium. Now, for that reason, you end up in trench level debating about it, where they can change their claim on the fly, like the guy did earlier. He can make literally the same assertion in different circumstances. I can say gas goes down, go boom boom, like bouncy balls. I can say gas goes up. Doesn't matter. I can say whatever suits my needs. In other words, it's not in any way him tying down what he's actually claiming, just double speaking trench fundies. So learning how to debate properly won't help you, is what I'm trying to say.
But learning the fallacies of debate will.
Yes, I was waiting for someone else to say that. Precisely. Steve, what's his, Steve AJ, I think.
Craig.
Steve HV, right? So Steve HV channel, he just sits on his channel and reads out fallacies. Just reads them. That's it. That's what he does on his channel. Very useful. So that's what I do. I'm boring. I don't know. Shout out to Steve HV. I'm not saying you're boring. But, listening to fallacies and reading them and hearing a new one and saying, what's that fallacy mean? As opposed to saying, begging the question, you've just made that up. Begging the question, never heard of it. I'll Google it and see how it works. Go on, Chocolate.
Nah, I'm saying you flat earther. You made that up. I never heard of it.
Yeah, good knowledge
You
of
need
fallacy.
the Capime voice.
Good knowledge of fallacy, that's what you need. I had a good knowledge of fallacy. I was taught in a private school with a trivium-based education, and then moved out into comprehensive school, which I wagged off. But then moving back into it with a reasonable understanding of logic, I watched a lot of John Le Bon and Steve HV, and then Quantum Eraser polished up that rather dirty coin and made it shiny. Well, I was very lucky to have people in the arena I was in, i.e. Steve and John Le Bon, talking about fallacy to give me a better understanding of it and spark me on to learn about fallacy more. And then Quantum Eraser to recognise that in me and come along and go, you're worth the effort. And put a lot of time in, which is what he did.
The other thing to make aware is when you come into the topic, you have the naturally formed assumption that everybody in the topic is seeking truth. That's not true. There are overt liars in the topic, and they will lie to your face, and they will tell you that what they're saying is true, and it's their honest position. It's factually wrong, and it is not their honest position. They are overtly lying to you, but they're doing it with a smile on their face.
It's just one big joke, right? Let's move this on to a joke rather than answer a question about NASA and the sky vacuum being fake. I'm just trying to make a joke about peaches.
But there's a lot of stupid people in this topic on both sides of this conversation. I've noticed that.
You could shorten that statement. You want me to do it for you?
There's a lot of stupid people. There's a
Well
lot
done.
of stupid people.
That's correct. That's right. There are a lot of stupid people. That's right. Doesn't matter what subject you're in.
But there is a difference between the stupid people on one side of the topic compared to the stupid people on the other. We've all made our mistakes, our goofs and gaffes over time, and we've got to, on our side, we concede them and say, okay, but how do you have gas pressure in our container? We just accept them and move on. It's just not an issue. Yeah, okay, you might make a mistake. But on their side, they will never, ever, 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 ever concede. And what they'll do to stop that concession being a risk is they'll bring 4 or 5 ball earthers in to obfuscate the hell out of the point, because the guy that's drowning, they don't want him to drown, but they're not going to let him concede either. So they'll come in and totally derail the conversation so the concession never has to get made.
The greatest beneficiary of today's show was the first guy, the radio voice guy. If he stayed on till the end of the show, he saw what we all saw, and he heard what we all heard. So, yeah, it didn't work this time if that guy stayed on.
Yeah, it required a fundy to obfuscate away from the sky vacuum being fake. After one guy comes in and says, NASA. We go, nope, fake place. Here's how. That needs somebody to come in and mop up after. That's what that guy did.
Oh, this guy was the cleanup guy. There was one before him. Wow.
Yeah.
Might need a better cleanup guy, guys.
Were you not here for that?
Nah, I got here late. I was in a meeting.
Yeah, batting first with 2 outs. Let me change that. Batting, next batter up, the radio voice guy. 2 outs. And then guess what
Just a
happened?
bit outside.
And then the Spaniard shows up.
And the funny thing is, the way the Spaniard guy turned up and presented his arguments is that zero shame argument that all of the ball earthers do. They have absolutely no shame when they say, well, gravity is not a force, but it acts like a force. It's like, that is a direct violation, and you're contradicting yourself. You're directly violating the law of non-contradiction, and they completely gloss over it as though but if you try telling them the car was red, but actually it was blue, they would be able to identify that as real world, and they would call you a moron. But for some reason in this topic, it's like in Narnia, it's okay to have a red-blue car, but they don't see it. They just completely miss the fact that it's a contradiction in terms.
Well, he equated density to gravity, and you caught him.
Isn't he the same guy
The first thing I heard when I came in.
Isn't he the same guy that had the experiment of laying down and observing the sun and then standing up and observing the sun? He's the same guy.
Yeah, Coppo Flakes. With that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G Plus panels for making today's after show possible. Excuse me. Of course, a massive thank you to all of you in either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams for hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. Also, below this video, you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.